This is the Jack of All Podcast.
Oh, hey. All right, okay.
This is Jack of Ass.
Jeez, what the heck is with this thing? Here we go.
This is the Jack of All Podcast.
That'll work. Cool. So podcast number 3. This time around, I have my friend Rocco over to tell me about his experiences while deployed with the 82nd Airborne in 2006 and 2007. Now, I love listening to this guy's stories. I met him a few years back when I ended up sitting next to him at work, and I love military and war history. A big part of me always wished I would have enlisted right out of high school just to have the experience, but I don't know. I never had the cojones to voluntarily carry a rifle into combat. So anyways, I love hearing stories, particularly about what happened in the second Iraq conflict, since that's kind of the conflict of my generation and the one that I wished I would have gone into. And Rocco not only had the cojones to get in there, but he's also got a memory like a vault. So I sat next to this guy at work every day, and he would tell me the coolest stories, just hours and hours of detailed firsthand accounts of his experiences. And I'm so thankful for the stories. Thank you, Rocco. I love you, man. And I'm sure you're all going to see what I mean with this podcast, and I hope you all enjoy it. We talked so much for almost 3 hours, and we still got done going, oh man, what about this story or that story? And I mean, I just wish I could remember half as much as this guy. I did cut out about 15 to 20 minutes at the start. That was just things that were a little too close to home, stuff about work and whatnot. And in that time, Rocco told me about his participation in a veteran support network at work and a program that facilitates communication and understanding between the varied generations or ages of people in the workplace. We talked about, some veteran support in the community and workplace, and this hardly summarizes the discussion, but I kind of gather that it's okay out here at least. Support networks can be fickle and fall apart due to political BS. Benefits for vets kind of come and go, and there could definitely be more, but it seems to me that at least there's people out there to talk to, and Rocco's one of these guys. He's out there keeping networks alive and keeping people talking and working things out, and he's a really great guy for that. So I like seeing all that support stuff. I did see a ride for vets on our pinboard at work the other day, and I like that. I used to have a bike, and everyone tried to kill me on it, so yeah, enough of that. But I did a poker run where everybody gets together, donates to a cause, and then goes on a ride, like kind of a circuit, checking in at bars along the way or other locations. And this one was a ride for a local no-kill shelter, a dog pound. It was called No Pet Left Behind. Like I don't know where these dogs served, but Duke is missing a leg, and Buster's just not the dog he used to be, right? These dogs didn't do shit, but people are assholes and just aren't responsible for their breeding dogs, and people end up abandoning dogs at farms and such, and it's just a mess. So I like supporting that too, but so this ride for vets, it went too far, man. I'm telling you, the world's gone too hip. This was hipsters on cruiser bikes with cute little puppies in the basket up front to support this local veterinarians group, right? Like their poker runs like cafe to cafe and ending at a vegan joint. I mean, what happened to bikers going bar to bar and giving to veterans? But anyways, thank a vet. Whether you like it or not, your society, culture, and freedoms to support whatever cause you like is backed by military might. Without our nation's military power, what would our culture and laws be? I don't know. I really don't. But I'm having a good day, so I'm thankful. All right, you can get in touch with me or find anything I'm publishing, any upcoming podcasts that come out at jackofallpodcast.com. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. It's not so much history, but kind of a bit of a window into the actual experience of being there. So if you want more history, you should go find it. There's so much good stuff out there with this conflict. It's so recent, and there's such good technology collecting all this information. So there's wiki pages, videos, audiobooks. There's a great audiobook that I listened to called Games Without Rules, and Games Without Rules. If you find this audiobook, it's a good one that tells you kind of a deeper history of the conflict of the region leading up to modern times. So I got it free at our local library, off our local library's app. See if you can find it. It's out there. Not an advertisement. Point being, go learn, get out there. There's knowledge. It's free. It's available. All right, I'm going to try to link some wiki pages that are related to some of the events that we talk about in the show notes at jackofallpodcast.com. And that's it. Enough of me. This podcast is enough. It's enough awesome for one recording. Enjoy and thank you.
She's been very helpful. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Cool. So how did this all start then? How did you end up getting into the military and everything? You're right out of high school, or
No,
what were you doing in your life then?
All right. As far as high school, I had a buddy, David, and he wouldn't mind. He joined the Marines.
Whatever's good.
He actually joined the Marines I want to say he was 17 when he enlisted. You can't go straight in when you're 17.
Right.
You got to wait till you turn 18. But, he was doing the whole thing. The kid started getting huge. Him and his brother, very good friends of mine all through elementary, middle school, stuff like that. And he joined the Marines. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I had other friends that joined. Like, oh, that's cool. Whatever. I just wanted to do my own thing. I was working a pretty crappy job. I had met my wife. I want to say I was probably 16 when I met her, but I didn't start dating her till I was about 19. I saw 9/11 on TV. A buddy woke me up. We worked together, and he's like, dude, check this out on TV. And saw the second plane hit, and I'm like, man, shit's getting crazy,
Right.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if I can say that.
No, yeah, you can. You
like,
can. You can cuss and everything.
Man, it's getting crazy out there. And then I just kept seeing it and I hang out with my buddies in a basement, my time off, teenager, doing all that stuff, and I'd see these videos of crazy stuff like the invasion of Iraq, invasions of Afghanistan. So it was 2004. I decided one day, I'm just like, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to enlist.
Cool.
So I went and saw a recruiter. I already knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to do artillery.
Okay.
I thought about the infantry route, but I wanted to blow stuff up. I didn't think I was I don't want to say smart enough, but combat engineer didn't seem like something I'd want to do. I figured artillery is close enough to infantry as a combat arms MOS. I was like, I'll get to learn both.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I figured, living sweet. I don't mind being up front. I'm fine with that. But artillery, yeah, you're a little farther back. You support the infantry, but you just get to tear shit up. Shock and all kind of thing. So I go in there. I say I want to be artillery. I was like, I heard you're offering bonuses for Airborne. Now, I didn't know a lot about my father's Vietnam service.
Okay.
I just know he got 3 Purple Hearts. I saw his old uniforms. I knew he was a Cav Scout for part of it. I knew he caught a punji stick in the leg. Let's see. He was either recovering from that or from a landmine. Because he had 2 incidents. When he was recovering from one of them, though, they made him a driver. Okay. So he was driving his platoon leader around, and they had the Jeeps, was driving him around, and they hit a tank mine. So, I was only 9 when he died, so I didn't get to ask him these things. This is all information coming from his sister, my aunt, very good woman. They were super close, and I remember up until the day he died, I'd see him sitting there watching TV, chain smoking Camels, and you just hear the tink tink. And it's him pulling shrapnel out of his arms, throwing it in the glass ashtray. But part of the stuff they had to pull out of him and everything was the platoon leader, from the tank. The tank mine just shredded him.
Wow.
And I knew he was airborne, though. My mom kept saying he was at Benning. He was a drill sergeant at Benning. He was airborne. Yeah, he was airborne. I knew he was a drill sergeant. But I ended up finding a poster. And this is kind of taking you ahead a little bit, but I found a poster a few years back in my mom's stuff after she passed where my dad was actually air assault. one of the first guys to do air assault, and it's like a picture of him rappelling down at Benning also.
What exactly is...
Air assault is fast roping, from helicopters, stuff like
cool.
that.
Neat.
So he actually was a rappel master.
He was picking pieces out of the other guy out of him. Did we just gloss right over that?
Well, no, I'm saying like part of what was stuck in him that they had to remove was pieces, bone, and
good God.
And stuff. See, I didn't know that.
All right, sorry, that was glossed over.
I do know for a fact he was pulling the shrapnel out because I remember seeing that as a kid. What it would do, you'd see like little red spots on his skin, and it'd get irritated. He'd pick at it. It's pieces of shrapnel
coming up.
But I don't know if that's from the tank mine, the land mine.
I hope it's still that,
Yeah.
Well,
so
on a plate, I'm sure.
He would never talk to me about it because I was young, I could get into the story of what happened when he died, but that's a little too deep for this late at night.
Yeah.
But, I never got to talk to him about that stuff. He didn't want to expose me to that kind of, to tell me story. And he was really reluctant to even talk about it with my mom. Like I said, him being a Cav Scout, he was actually out there in the jungles,
Right.
It wasn't like a rear echelon guy like what I was trying to be with the artillery.
Right.
Yeah,
he was really in
we're
the
combat
shit.
arms, but we're supposed to be a little farther back. He was in there, and I still have one of his Purple Hearts. My sister has the other two. The one I have actually was stolen from somebody had broke in and stole it, and his father ended up calling us. I want to say it was like probably 15 years after my dad died, and he's like, did you have anybody in your family named Charles B. Ames? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, my son had a really bad problem with drugs and was robbing houses. And he's like, I found this in some of his old stuff, and it was the missing one. So
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. I suppose I could request his records to find out, but like I said, I know he was a rappel master and drill sergeant, so I'm assuming when she said he was also a jump master for Airborne school that, he probably was.
Right.
I really don't know much. So, but anyway, that's what I wanted to do. They were offering like a $3,000 bonus for Airborne. I'm like, cool, sign me up. I said, before I sign anything though, do I get any kind of a choice where I go?
Right.
I'm like, I know I can go to Alaska. I know I can go to Italy. I'm like, I'd kind of like to go to Bragg, and I'm already going to go to Benning. That's where my dad was. I'm not sure where he was stationed as Cav, but we have some great Cav units at Bragg, which I'll get to that too. But I was like, sure, do I have a choice? And they're like, oh yeah, man, we can square you away. For you doing a combat arms MOS, there's an $18,000 bonus for that, and $3,000 for Airborne. I'm like, cool, sign me up. I was the easiest sign up they had. Funny thing is though, I remember I said my buddy joined the Marines. First thing I did was I went to the Marines, and I'm like, hey, I want to join. They're like, okay. They're like, well, first thing they ask you, what criminal record do you have? And I'm like, well, I got busted for a simple marijuana possession. It's about a year and a half ago. They're like, no, get out. I'm like, really? Like, yeah, get out. I'm like, okay. I just walked right out the door and walked right to the Army. What's up?
Yeah. Yeah. They were more than willing to take me too, and no one else was.
Yeah. I had already had an idea that I wanted to do artillery, and I wanted to jump from some planes. I'm terrified of heights. It's just something I just wanted to do. Something I figured would make him proud kind of thing, but also to kind of test myself. Because like I said, dude, I'm terrified of heights.
Really?
I still, to this day, I get scared on like the second floor at the mall.
I want to go parachuting so bad. I don't know why. It's one of those things that like, I'm not good with heights either. We were fucking around at the Y the other day, and we climbed the rock wall there.
I hate it.
I got to the top, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm not like, I wasn't like pumped about it. It was really fucking cool, but it was like, yeah, but man, I want a wingsuit so bad. And
that's a different beast.
Oh, it'd be so fucking cool. I don't know that I'm like trying to jump off cliffs, but out of an airplane, it sounds pretty fucking awesome.
For that,
but
though,
anyways.
What is it, like something like 2 out of 5 of those guys die within 5 years?
Dude.
Yeah.
They try the craziest shit.
Yeah, you got to have some big balls to do that, man. That's not me, buddy. No way. But yeah, the Marines, man, they wouldn't take me at all.
Yeah.
And, I didn't know a lot about what all they had going. I'm thinking one of the best dudes I knew that joined, he went Marines. I'm like, well, everybody talks how awesome the Marines are. I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. Their uniforms look good. I'll do that. Why not? It's just, it was the first door when I walked in. Actually, I think the Navy was first, but
fuck them.
I don't really. We would say that a lot, but hey, man,
great.
Everybody's got their role, dude.
yeah, of course.
We'll just leave it at that. But Yeah, that was the first door, man. I walked in. They told me no. I walked next door. Told them exactly what I wanted to do. My recruiter, he's like, oh, yeah, you see that? And he had a big artillery shell in his office. He's like, I was artillery. And he was a pompous dick.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he was pretty cool, but he was like a meathead guy, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like the jock guy?
It seems like the artillery person for some reason.
And I'm like, whatever. And my actual recruiter, though, he was the head of the recruiting office. My actual recruiter, I want to say he was from Africa.
Okay.
Maybe Jamaica. I mean, he's a super dark black dude, but he had a really bad accent to where his English, you couldn't hardly understand it. And I'm trying to help him, you know, figure everything out. You know, he's asking me all these questions and he's trying to write stuff. And I'm like, dude, you know, I'm like, that's not right. Like, you didn't spell that right. Like, at least spell my name right. But he was a nice guy. I mean, you know, recruiting, I mean, that's a stressful job. I don't care what anybody says. I like to talk shit about him, but that job would suck. Anyway, so the guy, he has to pull my criminal record. Like I said, I told them flat out, exactly. Right. I have a marijuana possession charge. I had a minor consuming when I was 18, you know. Okay. I mean, the cops let me drive home. I'm like, I can just leave. You know, it was a party, whatever. But that's it, you know. Yeah. And tattoos. They were asking about tattoos. I'm like, well, I have this one on my wrist. I know you can't have them below your wrist, neck, hands, whatever. So I had to get a waiver for the tattoo. It's called a moral waiver. I have to take it to the head of MEPS, you know, their commander, and say, I'm sorry, I made the stupid choice for this tattoo, and apologize for the weed, which the thing with the weed, man, I just happened to be riding with, at the time, it was my wife's little sister's boyfriend. He just got a new car, okay? So technically it was his weed. Like, I just told him where to get it, and he wanted some weed. I'm not going to lie. I smoked weed. I was high with him. But this fucking meathead turned the wrong way on Jefferson Street. He turned into oncoming traffic.
Perfect.
Goes to swoop back around like a dumbass. Cop pulls him over. And I don't want to say this was one of the reasons I decided to join the military, but the cop that pulled me out of the car and everything, he's like, I know you guys been smoking, blah, blah, blah. Where's it at? If you just tell me, he's like, one of you won't go to jail or both of you won't go to jail. You know, basically, if you cooperate, I won't be a dick. Right. And he had a Marine pin right here on his vest. I'm like, oh, shit. So it's kind of like fate, you know. This guy, he talked all that shit. And then I looked at Kevin. I'll say his name. Fuck it. It's Kevin, asshole. I said, look, dude, because he gave us a minute. He's like, I'm going to let you guys talk it over before I call the dog. Oh, weird situation. Just be honest. I'm like, okay. I look at Kevin. I'm like, dude, you just got this car. I'm like, as long as you help me pay whatever fees I have, like my criminal record consists of a minor consuming, you know? Yeah. It's a very small amount of pot. I'm like, as long as you help me pay my fees, I will take the rap for you so you don't lose your car. I mean, he had the car like 2 days. Right. I'm like, I'll take it for you. That's the kind of guy I am. I will never do that again, by the way. No. And I told the cop, I'm like, yeah, it's in the ashtray. It's mine. Hey, that dude immediately slammed me on the ground in handcuffs. Like, was a total prick about it. You know, I spent the night in jail. And, you know, I didn't end up getting much for it. But anyway, this plays a pivotal role to my enlistment. So I get denied by the Marines. Yep. I go to the Army. I tell them flat out what it is. They're cool with it. You know, I sign the moral waiver, tattoo waiver, all that. Well, when it's time, you know, getting close to I did like the delayed entry thing. I wanted to wait until, I want to say it was like December, as I had another buddy that was going in at the same time. Okay. We were going to try to do the buddy program thing. Yep. He went artillery, the whole 9. And it's coming up on the date, and I get a letter in the mail saying that I was disqualified. I'm like, okay, what's the deal? And they're like,
just for the buddy program?
No, they said, you have to wait 6 months
completely
to enlist. And I'm like, why? They said, because of fraudulent enlistment. I'm like, well, what do you mean fraudulent enlistment? They're like, well, you never disclosed this possession charge. Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, what it is the recruiters. Yeah. They're the ones that pull your criminal record. Like, they're the ones that contact the police. I had no hand in any of that. Like, I sat in their office, and I filled out the waiver form saying I had this charge. He didn't put that in there. Like, I don't know if he scrubbed it or what, but he took it off. Like, I already told him I did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I filled out a waiver and everything.
Just pulling a fast one to get you in.
Like I said, the guy was like very unsquared away with his paperwork. Right. I don't know if he was brand new to it or what. Super nice guy. I don't have anything bad to say about him like that.
Just goofing it up though.
Anyway, I'm glad it actually kept me out, because during that time, that I had to wait the 6 months, my wife got pregnant with my daughter.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, it's a blessing, actually.
You didn't see her born, though, huh?
Oh, I absolutely did.
6 months? Okay, go on.
No. I'm saying during that 6 months, my wife got pregnant. Now, I did not immediately go do the enlistment process at 6 months.
I see.
What I did was, I want to say I waited until, let's see, this would have been about May when that happened. So I would have had to wait till October. I actually went back in December.
Okay.
So 8 months I waited. My wife was due to pop. She ended up having my daughter in January. I did delayed entry again so that I could go in, a couple of weeks after my daughter was born. So I actually went in February 16th was the day I left. So my daughter would have been about 3 weeks old.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I got married and everything, made sure I knocked all of that stuff out because, we were gonna do the whole thing anyway. I'm like, I promise I'll give you a better wedding,
Yeah.
I was like, I want you guys to be able to move with me. Just whatever, basically
it's not a bad setup.
We sped up what we were already going to do. And February 16th I left, went straight down to Fort Sill, Oklahoma to do my basic and AIT. All that was, instead of separating it, for my MOS, you do it all in one place. So a lot of guys will go and they'll do their basic training for whatever it is, 14 weeks or 12 weeks, 9 weeks. I'm not even sure what it is for anybody else, but you got your basic and then you have your AIT where you learn your job. Mine, instead of them sending me from one base and then another base is where I learn, or another battalion or whatever, mine's all together. So basically I did basic training for like 16 weeks straight.
Right.
They're supposed to chill out, but see, my drill sergeants were all activated reservists who were pissed off that they got activated. So I was only their, I think, second cycle. Yeah, so most of them are like old school dudes. We had one that looked just like Sergeant Slaughter, man, the mustache. Oh man, he was such a prick. But we did that down at Fort Sill. I think it lasted 16 weeks, if I'm correct. I brought the paperwork, to try to refresh. I don't want to sit here and tell you like where I went and then not remember the units or,
that's all right. I mean,
so I ended up having to do 2 weeks after that. I'm no longer like a trainee. I had to sit there and wait for 2 weeks for my airborne school slot to start up.
Gotcha.
So there was a lot of guys in my unit, my basic training unit, that were going to airborne school. We had some that were going to Ranger school. My particular MOS, you can't do Ranger school.
Okay.
13 Bravo artillery is not Ranger supported. Now, if you're a 13 Fox, which is the guys that, they're the ones that call for fire.
Right.
They're supported MOS. And I believe 13 Deltas, which this is all foreign to you, but basically, like, you're a 13 Fox. You call into me, a 13 Delta. I get on the computer and, do all my jazzy computer shit and send it to the artillery guys.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's
that's
like they're
a little
basically
critical.
like they're the nerds of artillery. But great group of guys. Like some of my best friends when I was at Fort Bragg, they were Deltas. So I like to give them shit, but
probably some sharp fuckers though to be confident in that job.
Not all of them. I mean, we're definitely people say of artillery like, pull trigger, go boom. Then you look at the infantry guys and like, oh, meathead, run at the fucking bullets. But I mean, it's all good, So I waited my 2 weeks, went to airborne school. This was just prior to 4th of July. Basically, if we would have ended at the 2 week mark, it would have been like July 5th. Okay. So what they did was you have like your little training time. Then you have your tower week, which tower week is it's basically these big towers down at Fort Benning. They kind of look like I don't know, it's like some kind of weird ass carnival ride. Fucked one of those big utility poles outside.
Okay.
So it's got these 4, I guess you'd say like I don't know, like weird parachute harness shits on it. Basically, it's a fucking tower where they crank you up on it and you have a parachute, but it's already open, and then they just drop you a few times. It's basically to get you assimilated for your PLF, your parachute landing falls.
Yeah.
We got to completely skip tower week.
Oh, geez.
So we went straight into, we did all of our, they put you in the mock harnesses and drop you. We got to skip the whole tower week, which was awesome. Go basically straight into practicing our landings and then jumping. While I was on the 15-foot tower, which is you're in a harness. You got a soldier on the ground holding a rope. You got a soldier up on this 15-foot platform. They'll push you off. You swing out. It's supposed to be when you're coming down, the guy lets go of the rope, drops you into the pea gravel, and you practice your landings. I actually saw a captain get recycled on one of the swing trainers. It's kind of like like a zip line kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You zip line down, and then you practice landing. You have no parachute. It's just to practice how you fall.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy broke his collarbone. We had a lot of guys get recycled for dumb shit uniforms, but this guy actually hurt himself.
Right.
I was on that 15-foot tower. Guy pushed me off. Guy on the bottom let go.
Just
and
immediately.
I was feet still out, landed right on my back. So that's where the back
flat,
problem.
Like belly flop, but on your back.
Yeah, that's actually where the back problems really started. But anyway, we do all that. My back's killing me. If you can't make runs or you can't, jump, you can't do anything, they'll just recycle you or kick you out.
Right.
So I'm in the back, struggling to run. My back is killing me, and I hate running anyway. It was horrible. I did it. Anyway, this would have been about, I'd say, maybe the 30th of June, maybe the 1st of July-ish. We're going down to do all of our actual jumps. They're going to crush them all into a couple of days. You have to do 5 jumps.
Yeah.
This cadet, it was a Monday morning, he starts weaving in front of me in the run. We're like, oh shit, it's like 100 degrees down there, easy. This kid's weaving, and he just falls out of formation on this run.
Okay.
Because now, mind you got Marines, you got Navy, you got cadets, you got Army, you got all these dudes. To do any kind of special forces, recon, they all got to go to not Ranger school, excuse me. They got to go to jump school as well.
Yeah.
Well, this cadet in there apparently did not drink any water the whole weekend. And was
Brilliant.
boozing. I mean, boozing hard.
Dummy.
Yeah, that dude died.
Holy shit.
Yeah, straight died. So
Just at that event, yeah?
Well, I mean, that's where he fell out.
And
then they pulled us into the company after we did that was our run for just the morning. Now, mind you, this is 5:30 in the morning, if that. This kid's already fell out.
What a dummy.
After we did our jumps for that day, we get back, and the commander, it was either the commander or sergeant major, I can't remember now, he forms us all up, and he tells us, that cadet died.
Wow.
This is the importance of hydration.
Yeah,
I'm not stupid. I just came straight out of basic and AIT. All my buddies are going out to booze for the weekend. I'm still sitting on the back, shining my boots. Because back then, we actually wore BDUs. We had to shine our boots.
Right.
I'm making sure my uniform's squared away. I just saw my family for a week. I'm
Just
cool.
chill.
I did drink while I was there, but not like that,
Yeah, and I keep saying what a dummy, no disrespect to a dead guy, but shit, drink, how do you not drink water in that?
I mean, it's common sense, dude. And him being a cadet, he should have known better anyway.
Yeah.
What
exactly is a cadet?
Basically, for him, for these guys, that particular group of them anyway, they're training to be officers.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
I don't know what school. It was a group of them, though. I mean, they had talked to the kids' buddies and everything. That's how they found out the story that he was out drinking and everything.
Right.
I want to say, I don't want to say they were West Point. They were some, fairly big military academy guys. They're
he should have known what he's doing.
Officer candidate guys, Yeah. But yeah, he straight died. So for the next 3 days of that particular week, which they closed it down. It wasn't 7 days. They cut it down for the weekend. Basically, they rushed our 5 jumps over a 3-day period instead of 7.
Right.
Okay. But for those next 3 days, man, they had us taking outdoor showers. They'd just stop us and walk us into these outdoor showers. So you need to stay cool, and they'd force you to drink water and stuff. So
that's so ridiculous.
Yeah, and I guess a chick in the class before us also died, but she had a parachute malfunction.
Okay,
that stuff does happen.
Totally different.
I actually lost 2 buddies at Fort Bragg from the same thing, but they were testing new chutes. One of them was in my battalion, straight up. So I mean, training accidents do happen, but this one, this cadet, that was an avoidable thing. That was just, and that shows you right there, the heat can tear you the fuck up.
Oh
man.
yeah.
So I finished Airborne school, got out a couple of days early, and then came home, did hometown recruiting. That's where they give you 2 weeks. You get to work with your recruiters and stuff back here.
Mm-hmm.
The more guys you enlist, they give you a little money, and you can also be promoted. You
cool.
could,
Nice.
Let's say you're only a private, PV1, PV2 or whatever. You can make PFC, stuff like that.
Huh.
The only other way you can get promoted prior to that is having college, stuff like that.
Yep.
So I come home, ended up getting one of my buddies. He ended up going Ranger.
Nice.
I want to say he was in. God, he's gonna kill me if I'm wrong, but I want to say he ended up going to Ramadi. Had some issues with his wife. I want to say he was based out of Texas. His wife got into drugs real bad while he was in Iraq, and they actually had to compassionate discharge that guy. To take care of his kids. There's nobody else to take care of him. So
compassionate discharge.
It's God, what the hell is it called? It's not hardship. Maybe it is hardship. But basically, if there's nobody to take care of your children, they can discharge you for that.
Right.
It happens.
That's good. I mean,
a lot of times it's female soldiers. They get pregnant.
Right.
The husband takes off or whatever. You got to take care of your kid.
Yep.
They had to send him home early because she just bailed. It's not just she got hooked on whatever it was. I mean, she bailed out. She
vanished.
But I mean, he's a great dude. He still lives here in town too.
Right.
Super cool dude. Like you'd look at him and be like, no, but that kid's a badass. Like he was a fucking ranger.
Hell yeah.
And he's got some pretty good stories. Like I said, a lot of the guys that were in my basic training and shit, we all went to Airborne school together. 3 of them ended up in my battalion. I want to say like 4 or 5 guys got either recycled or just quit.
Yeah.
And then all the rest of them went to other places. Like one of my really good buddies, he ended up going up to Alaska. Like my parents drove him to the airport after Airborne school, and I kept in touch with him a little bit. But God, I mean, I don't know where he's at now.
Right.
But that dude seemed like a lifer. He's a pretty good dude.
Yeah.
But came home, did the hometown recruiting thing, got my buddy into the Rangers, got another buddy from right here. He went artillery as well.
Cool.
He was in, I want to say Balad or something, or was deploying to Balad, Iraq. And this story's hilarious, and I hope he listens to this, man. They wouldn't let him go because they're like, you got hemorrhoids. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of funny. Well, apparently, when the Army did the surgery on him, they cut too much. Like they went, instead of just removing the hemorrhoids, they like did some other kind of procedure. The kid had like a bag for a long time. Like he actually got medically discharged because they tore his insides up. It's like, dude, you're getting like, I thought a hemorrhoid was like something on your,
or something.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Probably cut the muscle out.
Something. I mean, they did something crazy. I'd have to ask him more. But anyway, point is, I got 2 guys in. Yeah, the recruiter stole the credit for those, so I didn't get anything for that. And yeah, there was like 3 or 4 of my buddies made it all the way through with me.
Nice.
Went down to Fort Bragg in July, and did our little thing, reception. You go in there, you're basically living in some shit barracks for a little bit until they assign you.
Okay.
And we all, like I said, it's kind of like a buddy program thing you can do in basic, where if you guys are all scheduled to go to the same duty station, obviously you have the same MOS, you're all airborne qualified and everything, they'll try to stick you together.
Nice. Yeah.
So I had a couple of buddies that same MOS as me, 13 Bravo, and then one of my buddies, Randall Marshall, great fucking dude. He was a fister, 13 Fox. Well, It was like right before, call for fire, guys. Yeah, well, right before we go to deploy, here. I'll say this. I wanted to tell you about Katrina.
Oh, yeah.
That's fun. But right before we were set to deploy, this is where the Cav Scout thing comes in. Mm-hmm. They took Randall Marshall and sent him over to 573rd Cav. I got nothing but love for those guys. The Cav guys, dude, that deployment, they had it fucking rough. You can actually look this up in Bakuba. This would have been in 2007 because we got there in 2006. Got extended. It was during the surge. Those guys were down in Bakuba. It was the largest mass casualty deaths for the 82nd was those guys. You can see the video of what happened. Insurgents in Bakuba, they drove up to their patrol base. They blew the whole fucking gate down. Wow. Drove a second car bomb in Oklahoma City, the building. I mean, they took the whole front of the building down. I found out that Marshall actually got his arm severed in one of the blasts.
Damn.
And he died on the helicopter.
Oh,
you can look that up. Sergeant Randall Marshall. He was a fucking awesome dude. And this, all this stuff with the 573rd and the Cav guys, like all that stuff is going to come into play when I tell you about the second deployment, because my platoon leader for most of that second deployment was with the guys in Bakuba. So me and him, like, I wouldn't say me and him had any kind of special bond or anything, but like him just coming in and knowing where he came from, like, I always felt that I could talk to that dude about anything.
Yeah.
And he was like one of the best captains I ever had, like hands down. But that dude like was on the warpath for finding anybody from Diyala province.
Yeah.
Like if he found out there was intel that there's a guy from Diyala, like, second platoon, we're going to get that motherfucker.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean? So Anyway.
Ooh, I can't imagine the mess from that kind of a bombing.
I get to brag and find out where I'm going and everything, and, get my on-post housing and everything, start moving my wife down. And I don't know if it's, to this day, I'm not sure if it was like I misheard something, misread something. Basically, I called to my new battalion. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Where you at? I come in there, get all my gear and everything, start meeting with everybody. My section chief, which is, he'd be like the sergeant above you, Okay. You got like a section chief, and then you got like your gunnery sergeant, platoon sergeant, and it goes on. So in the platoon, he would have been like, the third ranking guy.
Okay.
It just amongst the platoon anyway.
How many's a platoon?
A platoon can be
over here, but
it just varies. But let's see. You usually got, 1, 2, 3 or 4 gun sections. I mean, it all depends. Ours always fluctuated because on deployments we were infantry, so we'd break into squads, and then those break into fire teams. It just all depended on the number of guys you had. But anyway, my chief had some kind of a medical ailment. I want to say he had a heart attack. So he wasn't there. So I never got to meet him. I just met my platoon sergeant. I hadn't even met my gunnery sergeant yet. And I tell them, look, my wife, they're just down here. I got the truck. I need to unpack and everything. So I was told I could go home, start unpacking. So I'm there. I'm unpacking. I called in the next day. I thought they told me to take, it was like 2 days or something like that. Well, we were on this thing called GRF. It's Global Readiness Force.
Okay.
It's where you can be ready to deploy anywhere. Mm-hmm. That's the big thing about the 82nd, within 18 hours. So our brigade was already tasked with that. I don't know if we're necessarily called brigades yet. A lot of things changed, but anyway, my unit for sure was part of that GRF. Well, we got kind of a stand-up, hey, for Katrina. So I get woke up to my section chief and my platoon sergeant like pounding on my fucking door. And this is the first time I meet my chief. And I'm not going to lie to you right now. He's a fat piece of shit. But this is like the first time I meet this guy is because I didn't show up to work that morning. I'm like getting my wife and shit moved in.
Oh,
like they come pounding on my door at like 5 a.m. They're like, we're on GRF. You got to get ready to go. And it's like, dude, I haven't even been here like a week. Like, I don't even have all my shit.
Yeah, right.
My truck is outside. Like, it just got here. Like, I'm not even moved in yet. Well, the next day, they stood us down. Then the next day, bam, I'm on a plane to Katrina, to New Orleans. So,
Was that how many days after it hit was that?
I believe it was the second day after.
Oh, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, and I'm like, mind you, I just got there. Like, I hadn't even been there 10 whole days, and I'm already on a deployment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my wife was not even moved in. Like, my daughter's, she's like 4 months old. My wife's never even been away from home. I just had to bail.
Yeah, throw the boxes in and see you.
Yeah, like, we didn't even have, like, the appliances and stuff weren't even hooked up yet. It's like, I'm the low man. I'm a brand new private. Like, I have no say anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, but the way I meet this guy was he's pounding on my door at 5 a.m. because he said I didn't show up for formation. And it's like, dude, as far as I knew, you were out medically. Like, I never even met you.
Yeah.
And what it was is the platoon sergeant had told me to stay, and I guess he didn't have that authority.
Nice.
So it was just a huge clusterfuck.
What a great way to start.
But it's cool. It's all good. So
didn't hold against you. You weren't like the low guy forever for that.
Dude, me and my chief never got along.
Yeah.
And he would bring that shit up too. Trust me. That guy, he took it out on me any chance he got. We did not see eye to eye at all. And I'm gonna get into more of that too. But so we get down there for Katrina. They land us at the Louis Armstrong Airport. And now mind you, it's fucking hot, dude.
Yeah.
I'm talking like Bragg was hot. Georgia was hot. This is a different kind of heat. This is like that super sticky, nasty heat. And there's no working lights. Like, we landed at the airport and there's no lights. Like, this whole city is dead.
So
like,
no
there's
AC
random
bar or nothing.
No, fuck no, dude.
No
so there's like
margaritas or
random
nothing.
generators you can see powering things, but for the most part, I mean, everything's black. So that right there, I mean, I had flown on planes. Like I jumped out of a couple at this point. Yeah, we did night jumps, but I mean, even then, when you're flying around the base to do your jump, the city's lit up.
Yeah.
Like this was weird, dude. Like there was like the guys waving us in. That's like the only light. So you get out. It's like stupid hot, sticky hot. We go right into the terminal, and the first thing, may God strike me dead if I'm lying, the first thing I see is a body on a gurney with like a sheet over it.
Jesus.
Just chilling in this empty terminal. Because, the flight line, we come in, we go on this terminal, there's a fucking gurney with a body. I'm like, okay. And yeah, there's no air conditioning. Yeah. What they had done, I don't think it was the basement. Like we weren't allowed to go certain areas in the airport. Like everybody had their designated area. It's like the bottom portion, like where all the bookstores and shit were. Like that was a morgue.
Huh.
Yeah. Like they did have refrigeration and shit down there, but that was all generator. And like the U.S. Forest Service was there. There was tons of different organizations that were working down there where the makeshift morgue was and other things. So like you had the Forest Service section, the morgue, bunch of other different like Louisiana, facilities or whatever they were. Well, we were in charge of a specific terminal upstairs, my battalion, my battery, and all we had was we had our BDUs, we wore the beret, we carried the M4. No magazine. Had magazines, but no magazine in the weapon. Okay. Our job was to make sure anybody that was left, I'll say left behind. Not everybody was left behind, but
people chose to stay.
Yeah, some people were homeless. Some people were crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of them were elderly people that were left behind.
Not able to be.
Now that shit was terrible.
Yeah.
But you just had the hard heads too that didn't want to leave.
Of course.
Out at all the gates, and we'd rotate. Guys would have to guard the gates. You let people in, but you have amnesty boxes. Dude, I can't even begin to tell you the kind of shit people were putting in amnesty boxes, dude. Cocaine. I saw an AK-47, handguns, and people were carrying bags of looted cigarettes and stuff. We'd let them take it. As long as it wasn't contraband, explosives, weapons, drugs. We'd search them, and then we'd fly them out. The thing is, they had no choice where they go.
Right.
You go where the plane's going. And it was heartbreaking as hell having to tell like an 80-year-old lady, she's all dehydrated and shit, brought in. They're sitting in dirty clothes.
Right.
Because like I said, I ended up being at the airport for about a week. Because I ended up staying there for, it was either 28 or 29 days. So I was about a week there. And
are all these people getting like carted in, bussed in, walking in?
Some of them were walk-ins.
All of it?
Some of them were walk-ins. A lot of them were getting bussed in. Some of them were coming in military vehicles. Like, you see the videos of people stuck on roofs. We weren't responsible for any of that. So I just see the people that were coming in. Mostly I stayed in the actual terminal itself. I personally never had to go down and actually pull the gate guard, but I did go out there and get to walk around, and see what all's out there. I never had to like frisk any people there, which was totally awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like one chick had like a big boa constrictor around her neck. One chick had birds, like parrots and shit.
Another freak.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
That's fun.
Dude, we still have a video of her like deep throating the snake's tail and shit. She was crazy.
Oh, shit.
One of my buddies made it through Airborne school and everything with me. He ended up getting kicked out of the Army for drugs. But dude went down and robbed one of the amnesty boxes and was taking the prostitutes into the bathroom.
Oh, shit.
With the coke and shit.
Jesus.
I'm not even kidding, dude. And like I said, we weren't there to fuck with anybody. We were there to have a presence and to maintain the order. Like, I never had to hit anybody,
Right.
You'll hear all these stories, the Chris Kyle stories about having to snipe people on the roofs. Dude, we didn't do none of that shit. Now, people were getting killed, for sure.
Right.
I'll get to that, too. But it wasn't us. We didn't have to do any of that stuff. I mean, a lot of the people were super grateful. You'd have the crazy people that would yell at us like, why the fuck do I got to get on this plane? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude,
what the fuck did you expect?
What are you doing right now? Like, you're carrying 2 fucking trash bags full of cigarettes you looted from the convenience store. Like, where are you going to go?
It's just crazy.
Like, you don't even have shoes on, And like the elderly people was the worst because they'd be like, well, I have family in Missouri. Is this plane going to Missouri? And I just tell them, all you could tell them is, yes, ma'am. we'll get you to your family. But
right,
that's not my. I don't want to say it's not my job, but
that is what it is.
We don't have any
You're
control over that.
safe.
We have to evacuate these people because the terminals would fill up. I mean, there's people sleeping everywhere, and it was crazy because we'd have like the MREs, and then they had these weird like box meals. Well, the people, if you tried to give them an MRE and they see somebody with a box meal, like they'd like
what's
fight.
That guy got?
Yeah, they'd be like, "What the fuck? Why don't I get that?" And they'd like fight with each other and shit. So we did have to break up fights like that, you know.
Fucking animals, so quick.
I had to leave so quickly. Okay, this was 2000. What was that? 2005. Yeah, 2005. So I had no cell phone. Okay,
right.
Now, mind you, I have no way to get a hold of my wife. We don't have internet. We didn't have fucking iPads and shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even if I did, you use LAN connections back then. Like, where the fuck am I supposed to plug this in at? Right.
Yep.
So I go down, I sneak downstairs, and then you can even ask my first sergeant about this. This is a good one. So I sneak downstairs. I'm trying to find anybody non-military that has, you know, helicopters or something coming in. Hey, if I can get a hold of my wife, can I get a package? I got it. I know the Forest Service was down there. Like me, I'm a private second class at this time, okay? Now, mind you, I've only been in this unit at the time for about 2 weeks.
Right.
Okay? And I'm sneaking around with a couple of my buddies to get a package sent. I ended up having my wife send a big box full of books, beef jerky, 4 cartons of cigarettes, a couple rolls of dip, and a cell phone.
Okay.
So I talked to the Forest Service. Hey, if my wife sends this here, can I meet you down here? Like dude, the people in Louisiana are fucking amazing, dude. Like, just the nicest people. Like, yeah, we ran into the crazies and stuff, but just the people that were there to help, dude, it was amazing.
Nice.
Like, they were totally ready to do this for me. And I didn't just order this stuff for me. This was for, like, I had my tight clique of guys that I was in airborne school. Hey, what do you want? What do you want? And I talked to a couple of the, you know, like, section chiefs and stuff. Hey chief, what do you need? You know, not my chief though. Fuck that guy. But the other ones, because you know, I kind of feel like, hey man, I kind of stepped on my dick when I first got here. I need to
make some friends.
I don't want the platoon sergeants to know. I don't want first sergeants to know. I want these guys to know. You know, these guys that are just right above me. So this package gets there in about 3 days.
Nice.
Oh yeah. So I got jerky. I got smokes. Like at the time, I smoked a little bit. But I wasn't like a real heavy smoker, and I chewed occasionally. So basically, this was like, you know, like cigarettes in prison. This is like, I'm gonna trade this for people to be cool or whatever. And yeah, it worked out pretty good. And my first sergeant, you know, immediately just comes over screaming at me, pulls me over to the side, like, "How'd you get that here?" And I'm like, "First sergeant." You know, I'm freaking out, and he's like, "You think you can get him to let me get a package?" And I'm like, Roger, first sergeant, I think I can do that for you.
You're
the
Catch-22 pilot guy. You get the shit.
So, and this first sergeant, man, he was super cool. I mean, he had the greatest voice. He talked like this. It was so awesome, dude. He was the coolest dude, man. Like one of the only first sergeants I had. I don't want to say he's the only one, but one of the only ones that truly was not in the job for himself. Like, he would risk himself in his job. Mm-hmm. To make sure that you're not getting fucked over. You know what I mean? Like, just a great dude. So I did that for him, and he was a really good dude. Like, I didn't get to keep him for my whole first deployment. I ended up getting another first sergeant who was equally, if not more, awesome. So
nice.
But yeah, after that, I was pretty set. After that, they sent us to Algiers. So if you know anything about New Orleans, Algiers is it's like the projects, like it's a fairly ghetto area, you know, across the river.
This is like 30 days in, right?
Now this is the second week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we were at the airport for about a week. I'd have to really like ask around and stuff because I don't remember the exact amount of time. I just know I was in 3 places, and the reason I know it was 28 or 29 days is because if you're gone for 30 or more days, they have to give you hardship pay because you're separated from your family. They literally brought us home like a day or 2 before so they wouldn't have to pay us.
Of course.
Yeah. So they sent us to Algiers. They put us in the Martin Luther King, I believe it's Martin Luther King Elementary or middle school. I can't remember. There's an elementary school and a middle school across the street from each other, a catwalk connecting the two.
Yeah.
Once again, God, strike me dead if I'm lying. The first thing we see pulling up, all right, there's like the project apartments and everything. But as we're pulling up to the school and we look at the catwalk, it's like fucking Walking Dead, dude. There's like a bloody handprint streaked down the glass, like on this catwalk. And like, we're not checking that out. Like,
fucking area shit.
We're living in this school. Our job is to go around, check all the houses, because like I said, some of these are very poor, dude, like shacks. I mean, and that whole area was flooded.
Right.
The waters had just receded. I mean, it was terrible, dude. So we're staying in this. The gym floor was like all fucking warped and shit from the water. Like, it was really, really bad.
Could you tell how high it went up the wall? I mean, how many feet deep it was there? Or?
I mean, we didn't have lights in there.
Right.
Everything was, we did have a small generator, but we didn't really have lights. Like, it was just from the sunlight. Yeah. And parts of it you could see. On the houses, like outside, you could really see how high the water went. Because, I mean, it was like, the brown mucky stain on the sides.
Was it like halfway up a single story or something? Or
it depends, because, some of the area, dips
there.
And stuff.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
it's kind of ridiculous.
Let's just put it like this. Like, that whole area suffered flood damage.
Yeah, right.
But the gym floor itself, I mean, it was like wavy, like when Bugs Bunny, like tunnels.
Right,
like
right.
The whole fucking floor was like that. And I'm just going to tell you a couple quick things about Algiers. We really didn't encounter a lot of people. Okay. You hear the stories about police, executing drug dealers and shit.
Yeah.
100% true. Somebody was doing it.
Huh.
We heard police then. We heard that's who was doing it. But we actually, once again, strike me dead if I'm lying, we actually found bodies.
Wow.
Zip-tied
that
hands.
Execution style?
Yeah,
back of the
not
head
in the
shit, or?
school. Yeah, not in the school, but in the surrounding areas. Either us, like my battalion, or our actual, brigade.
Right.
We actually found guys.
Yeah, it's got to be local guys doing that shit.
And a lot of it was in Algiers. And we heard reports of that happen in other places. But
how fucking crazy.
One of the first, we only encountered, like, I'd say probably 24 people in Algiers the whole time. Because we were there for about a week, too. I want to say it was about
not much.
6 or 7 days. We maybe encountered like 24 people at most. I'll tell you about Hatchet Guy, but first, so like I said, we went to house. The first thing they wanted us to do, and you can look up pictures of like Katrina. You'll see the spray paint on the front of the buildings where they're cleared and stuff like that. Like that's what we do. Go house to house, knock. Most of them were abandoned. We did not actually go into any of the abandoned houses. Us personally, that was infantry guys like that. Like, that was their job. Our job was to, knock or whatever, walk around and give them what they need, and like basically take survey. Infantry guys were the ones that were clearing. Like, they wanted everybody to have their own jobs, and they're like, that's infantry's job. Okay, so I didn't really have to go in any houses, which I'm completely grateful for, because some of them still had standing water in it, and like,
Yeah, that sucks.
I don't want to do that.
Nah,
that's gross, especially if there is a body or something in there. Like, that's disgusting.
For sure.
So I'm cool with it. But we went around, and then we had the infantry with us. They'd, spray paint and everything. And we went to an apartment complex. I couldn't tell you the name of it, but it's like your classic project apartment complex. Brick, wrought iron railings and everything. And there's legit, dude, a guy standing there with an AK-47.
Fucking
like in front of one of the doors. The door's like barricaded, and he's out there, and we're like, hey, do you need anything? You guys got water? You got food? They're like, yeah, I'm good. I'm cool, man. I'm cool. And we're like, what's with the AK? And he's like, I'm just protecting my shit. And we're like, okay, well, we're over here. Like, we ain't going to fuck with you. He's like, all right. We're like, okay. We left the guy.
Yeah.
Our job is just to ask him if he's okay. He's protecting his own shit. He doesn't want to leave. We can't force him. They never bothered us, man.
Right.
And like, we heard there was a lot of like drug dealing and shit going on in there. I don't know. I always like to tell people, maybe he's just a drug dealer protecting his shit. Maybe he's just one hard-headed American dude that wants to protect his shit.
He's got a wife and kid up there or some shit crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, he was posted.
Yeah.
And
that's cool, though.
And then there's Hatchet Guy. So we see this naked redhead dude, like super sunburnt, like blazing red hair, chasing this guy down the street. He's naked as fuck, dude, with a hatchet. And we're like, what the fuck? Like, we see him coming, and he's just hauling ass after this guy with a hatchet. We're like, what the fuck, man? So we stop this guy. We're like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? No, stay back. Like, dude, put the hatchet down. Like, what the fuck are you doing? He's so fucking drunk, dude. He's like rocking on his feet and shit.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm Irish. We're like, what?
I'm
like,
doing Irish.
He's like, I'm fucking Irish, man. You know, and he's just all fucking, I don't know if that was like his boyfriend. They're having like a fight or what, dude. But we're just like, okay. Like, you can't have the hatchet back. Like, just, dude, go put some fucking clothes on, you know? And like, I don't know. Like, we're not there to hurt anybody or detain him or anything, but it's like I saw a naked, like, super redheaded dude chasing another guy with a fucking hatchet, man. So that was Algiers.
Nice.
Like, that's, oh, fuck. Hold on. All right, so this is the best. I got 2 stories for you about Blackwater. Okay?
Okay.
I don't have a lot of bad things to say about Blackwater. Like, those dudes were getting, like, they were doing some pretty serious shit overseas.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish there's a way I could look this up. But while we were staying at the Martin Luther King, I believe it was elementary school. I probably should have did some research first.
That's all right.
If I were to be able to pull up pictures, like I could show you the catwalk and everything, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we're in the gym, and one night, because we'd hear a lot of gunfire, dude. Like, no shit, there was a lot of gunfire going on there. But we never, it never seemed close to us, like where it was dangerous. You never heard like the whizzing or any of that shit. But I mean, there's constant gunfire. Like, that shit was all the time, you know?
What?
So the motherfuckers were losing it. Like, in certain places, people were getting after it. We, like I said, dude, we were very fortunate. We dealt with a lot of people, especially at the airport, but those people were disarmed. Like, you hear stories about where people are saying American soldiers were disarming people down there. No, we didn't do that. Yes, we told you to leave your guns if you're trying to get on the plane.
Well, yeah.
But how is that any different than when you get on a plane? If we came across you and you had a gun and you're not threatening any of us, carry on with your business.
Right.
But you'd hear gunshots all the time.
I mean, people are just living out their own little personal fantasy wars. You get those prepper guys.
I don't even know necessarily if people were shooting at each other, dude.
Yeah.
It could just be people partying and shooting, like,
right.
You know, who the fuck knows? I mean, people do it around 4th of July here, New Year's.
I'd hear it on the south side.
I mean,
all the time.
It was lawlessness. They were just, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
But because we didn't have power, and we're in this school, it had like an enclosed courtyard. It had walls. Okay. Like, most high schools don't have walls around them. This one actually did. It was an elementary school or middle school, whichever one. I don't remember which one we were in. Like, if I'm looking at it, we're in the one on the right. I believe it was elementary school, but it had like this enclosed courtyard, and we'd have to patrol it at night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even in the day, we'd have guards just in case, because you never know. Like, you know, we don't play that shit. So they told us, keep your magazine with your ammo. Like, keep it accessible.
Right.
Put a magazine in that's empty. Okay? I know that seems stupid, but
Yeah.
we were carrying M4s with no mag in it.
Right.
In the airport. We always had it, but we were not combat postured. We had berets on. Okay?
Yeah. Yep.
No helmet, no FLC, LBV, none of that shit. But this time they said, make sure that you have your mag accessible. Keep a magazine in it so you have the posture. Like, you know, we're not expecting anything, but just in case.
Were you not allowed to walk around with it loaded? Or?
They did not want us walking around with ammo in the weapon.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I don't know. I can't speak for other units in my brigade. Our battalion, we were not locked and loaded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, one of my buddies, I can't remember if one of the platoon sergeants or our first sergeant or somebody just said, you know what, just keep the magazine with your ammo in it, or if this dude like misheard, or if he just decided to do it. But anyway, he ended up with ammo, you know, locked and loaded. He's a pretty good kid. He's still kicking, but he got a little shifty one night, fucking racked his shit. I don't remember if he actually fired like any warning shots, but basically he almost killed a group of our guys coming in, like pointed loaded weapon at him and shit. And I don't know if that incident is what Blackwater saw, or if they saw our guys walking around the courtyard. But they drove, dude, kill me if I'm fucking lying. They drove a fucking APV, you know, the fucking SWAT APV style vehicles through the side of the fucking wall of the gym while we were inside there. Gym? Dude, came out, fucking guns out.
What the fuck did
we're
I
like,
think was
what
going
the
on?
fuck? Like, these dudes are locked and loaded. A lot of our guys in the gym are fucking sleeping. Yeah. Oh shit, big miscommunication. Like, we saw guys with guns. And,
come on
like,
now.
We're like, what the fuck? So,
wow.
Yeah, nobody got shot.
Well,
I don't even think any shots were fired at all. That's the first time Blackwater almost killed me. I don't think I was in the gym at the time. I really can't remember if I was outside or in the gym. It was just surreal as fuck. I might have even been just like brushing my teeth or something. Like, we didn't really stray too far from the gym unless we were on guard. So,
right.
Dude, it was funny as fuck. Like, they smashed it straight through the side of the fucking wall and everything, dude. They got out like goddamn heroes.
Lucky they didn't run someone over or some shit coming in, Smash a dude sleeping.
I mean, dude, it was fucking wild. Like, that's 100% true.
A little more cocky and they like pull up with an Abrams and blow a hole through.
But, they, like, we talked to them. I guess our command had been in touch with them too. Like, they were providing a lot of intel about the area. Like, I want to say they were some of the guys that were telling us about who was killing the people outside. Right. I don't want to say that they are the ones that told us it was cops, or if we heard that from other soldiers, or we heard it from people. Like I said, dude, this has been 10 years, 12 years now. I don't remember all the details.
That's pretty wild if it was. I mean, it seems reasonable, but that's pretty hardcore vigilante or grudge holding.
Dude, I mean, they fucking went straight through the wall, dude. It was crazy. So that was Algiers. And, that was pretty much it. I don't think we were there, but maybe a day or two after the wall incident. And then they took us out of there and flew us on Blackhawks to North Vermilion Parish, which that's like, I want to say it's north of New Orleans. Okay. Like if we were to, obviously, if we look at a map, New Orleans or Louisiana is separated into parish. I just know it was North Vermilion Parish because we were living in the North Vermilion High School. Okay. Like, this place was country. I still have a lot of pictures and stuff, like when we're flying out there. I mean, a lot, like everything out there, the farmland was flooded, and we'd like fly past graveyards and stuff, and you'd see caskets poking out of the side of the hills. Yeah. Like so much mudslides and everything. It was fucking crazy. There was like a ravine not too far from the high school that was just like full of caskets that had washed out of the graveyard and stuff. Wow. Like, it was pretty gross. Like, my buddy still has a photo. I just saw it on Facebook a couple days ago. It's a casket while we're at the airport, and there's just a casket floating across one of the flight lines. No shit, dude. Like, I can pull that up, and it's it's just surreal.
Yeah, how bizarre.
But nothing really happened at North Vermilion, dude. The people were fucking amazing. Like, now, mind you, I told you about the Forest Service people. Yeah. They'd always have people down, like, cooking gumbo and all that, and, bringing in, like, tons of red beans and rice and all their food down there. And then, they had their own little food down there, but then they'd also bring in, like, hamburgers and stuff like that. But, I mean, they were doing a lot of, like, community things where they'd have, like, that big pot of, like, gumbo, for instance, that could feed a lot of people. Like, we weren't even supposed to go down there. That is actually how I got down there to begin with, was not necessarily just to look for somebody, but to get some different food. Right. Like, I love, like, red beans and rice, gumbo, fucking jerk just chicken. Your nose. Yeah, dude. Cajun chicken. Like, dude, I love Southern cooking of any kind. So I could smell what they were cooking down there. Now, mind you, this is kind of creepy because it's next to a morgue.
Yeah.
But in North Vermilion, the people were even better off. Like, most of these people, because it's country, they had generators. They had stockpiles of food, water. Like, most of the people. Now, this one really sucked because, once again, we're tasked, here is your area. You have to go house to house and check on the civilians that stayed, And these people, like, most of them are chilling outside, like, barbecuing. You hear their generator, they're drinking beer, and they're asking us, like, what do you guys need? Because we're like, a water buffalo and some MREs. Like, we're all fucking sweaty. We haven't like washed our clothes, and like, we look like shit. And these people are just chilling, And they did a lot of things for us. Like, it wasn't like a parade, but they had like brought us a lot of food and stuff out to the high school and stuff. Like, the people were super nice. I think I still have a North Vermilion High School, like, cheerleading fucking hat at home that the chick gave me, one of the chicks down there. Like, it was super cool. Like, they were just so nice. It was really, really cool. And I actually fell off of a 5-ton truck down there. Okay. I was trying to, like, we had to carry all this shit, and me being the low guy, I had to carry the most, and I was going to throw my ruck on, and I slipped off the truck and landed on my fucking back again.
Oh shit.
And this was like we were probably like 30 miles from the school, and we had to cover something like 10 or 15 miles, over those 2 days.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm just fucking sucking trying to walk around. My back is on fire.
Right.
I'm sweating like crazy. And we're going like from farmhouse to farmhouse. And this was like, I don't understand the logic. You go from New Orleans to Algiers. I get it. They're right across the river, but then they fly us to this crazy parish out in the middle of nowhere. And that's where it ended like that. Like once we were done there, they flew us home.
Right on.
Yeah, it was wild. Another thing that happened in North Vermilion Parish, there was a first sergeant. I don't remember what unit he was in. I don't think he was one of ours from our battalion. But he's like super redneck dude. Like we're talking good old boy. Like super cool guy. There's this fucking cow, and it was stuck up on a railway bridge that goes over a ravine.
Okay.
Like a railroad, goes over. It was stuck up there, and I don't remember like what the deal was, but it could not come down.
Okay.
Like he could not get this cow down, and he's like, it's sick and it's fucked up. Like, we're like, well, what do you want to do with it, First Sergeant? Like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? It might have even been like a Louisiana National Guard First Sergeant. He walks up and sticks his fingers in the cow's nose and pulls it towards the edge and walks it off, like makes it fall into this ravine.
Oh my God.
And just like, we're just like this cow like fucking fell like probably 40 feet onto these rocks and like,
that's
we're just
up.
like, what the fuck? So that was North Vermilion Parish, man. Like that was probably that and the caskets was like the only real crazy shit there.
That's like he knew that would work too. Like,
yeah,
done this
leading
before.
Them by the nose.
Wow.
I don't know shit about that. I guess
it must be a
I guess
thing.
that's
I don't
why
know.
like when you
Yeah,
see
you
like
get
a
that horn
bull,
or the
they got the
ring.
ring in their nose and shit.
Yeah.
It's to lead them, I guess. Like I didn't know that shit. I'm from Indiana. Like yeah, we got farms and shit, but I never had to like lead no fucking cow. I've never like milked a cow or anything,
right.
I don't know nothing about that shit. It was wild, man.
Yeah, it's
so,
odd.
Yeah,
Nice.
that was cool.
So, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't see anybody like shooting anybody.
Yeah.
I don't know of any stories where any looters got shot or anything. Like I do have buddies that were like 573rd guys, At the time our guys hadn't went to 573rd, but like we'd have, guys that would reclass, or we'd talk to, hey, my buddy is now in 573rd and his buddy, we'd all talk about like Katrina and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like all these guys that were at the Superdome and everything, they all have different stories, but yeah, like I've heard stories of, somebody trying to like knife somebody or something,
right?
And then we have to take them out or something. I mean, like if somebody's trying to kill somebody else, like even in Iraq, I could kill a civilian if that civilian was trying to cause harm that could kill another person. So
just
it'd be
a
no
normal
different
crime,
than, like if you're at like Burger King or something and this guy pulls a gun out to rob the place and you don't know if he's going to kill him or not, like you shoot him, it's kind of the same thing.
Yep.
But like in this instance though, in these situations, it's not just that they pulled the gun out, but they're actually shooting. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like they're knifing somebody. So we did hear stuff like that, but for the most part, like nobody saw anything like that. Like
that sounds more random, and
you'd find the bodies and stuff. So I don't know about
drug dealers fighting and shit
like
that.
Exactly.
Seize an opportunity of chaos.
Even like the crimes we have here, it's not a random thing. Like the people that kill each other know each other.
Exactly.
And yeah, you had lawlessness down there, but if somebody's going to go to the trouble to try to attack another person, it's because they have something they want.
Yeah.
Everything down there was for the taking at that time. So it's either personal or you have something serious they want. If food and water's all you want, I mean, you can get that shit everywhere.
Right.
All the people that own businesses and shit were like, sure, loot it. I have insurance.
Exactly.
Like the people carrying the cigarettes, they're like, the guy that owned this place or whatever said we could take whatever we want.
Dude, a young hard dude too, that's just opportunity central.
Yeah, I mean, shit happens. But like I said, I never saw any violence. I saw the leftovers of violence, bodies. I don't know what happened in the catwalk. But there's a fucking bloody handprint up there. I'm not checking that shit out.
Yeah, that's odd. That's not hurricane induced. I don't know, maybe, but
everybody always asks, did you see any alligators like eating bodies and shit? No. But in North Vermilion Parish, where it was all flooded out in the fields and shit, you'd see gators like swimming across the fields and shit.
Trolling.
And I did see one technically swimming around where the caskets and shit were down in that flooded ass ravine. So I guess maybe he was eating those old bodies. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't see anything like that. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah, that was Katrina. So yeah, that was cool. I want to say, was that let's see, it was July 22nd when I got, it's either 21st or 22nd when I got to Bragg, and I don't think I was even there a whole week. I want to say I was only there like 3 or 4 days before I got sent. So when did Katrina happen?
I know it's ignorant, but I have no idea.
All I'm trying to do is establish a timeline for the next deployment, how soon before we deployed. So anyway, we get back from Katrina. We already know we're slated to go to Iraq. Like, it's known.
The plan from the start, right?
Yeah. My battalion is either my battalion or brigade. I can't remember. And this is all stuff you can look up to. 1st of 319th, my unit. It seemed like every 2 years it was a deployment. So it was like
that sounds slow.
01 Afghanistan, 03 Iraq, 05, it's like a little gap because we went in 06, but it seemed like about every 2 years you could kind of time them. And by the time I went in 06, after that it was every 2 years, you know? So we ended up, it was August of 2006. The orders come down for sure. Like, you're going. They had been standing us on and off of this deployment for about, I want to say it was about 8 months. We're going to go. We're not going to go. We're going to go. Like, we know we're going to go. It's just the timeline kept changing. So August, we get the orders. We're going to relieve the 101st in Tikrit. Cobb Spiker, that's where they're based out of. We're going to relieve them. These guys lost quite a few dudes over there. So I don't know what you know about Iraq at all. Tikrit,
not much. Yeah.
Tikrit was like Saddam's hometown. That's like where he'd stage out of and everything. A lot of his palaces were there. Now, mind you, that dude had palaces everywhere, but this was like, it was like his hometown. Like, that's his people,
Yeah. Like, specifically, what was he? He was
a Sunni.
He was Sunni.
Yeah,
so
pretty sure he was a Sunni people. I don't know, dude. Like, I still get confused about that shit.
Yeah.
I don't really. I don't know the whole big difference. It's a political thing with the Sunni and the Shia. I don't know.
Goes to say that would have been the dominant group there, most likely.
I assume it's kind of like the Lutherans fighting the Christians.
Right.
It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
You're all the same thing.
Well,
but anyway, that was his hometown. We were responsible from, like, my brigade had everything from Beji, so that was where the infantry guys were. Now, Beji is like a major oil area. It's like pretty much as far north as you can get, okay? They're responsible for that area up there. We had from, like, Tikrit all the way down to Adwar. Now, Adwar is the town they caught Saddam in 2003. So my actual battery itself, my 90-something man battery, would have to travel basically from Tikrit all the way to Adwar. Like, we controlled that whole area. Now, Bravo battery, I want to say they had like around Samara somewhere. I don't want to be wrong, but they had their own little area, because we had Alpha, we had Bravo, HHB, and Golf Company. Golf Company is like your trucks, your fuel, all that. HHB is like your headquarters brigade.
Gotcha.
Or not brigade, but your headquarters battery. And then you have Alpha and Bravo are the two gun batteries. They're the two artillery batteries. Now, we knew we weren't going to be doing much artillery over there because it being like, tight packed cities and everything.
Yeah, it's all.
So they made us infantry. The whole time I was over there, I only touched a howitzer to service it and, like, maintain it. I never got to shoot one. It was straight up
flat
infantry.
there, or was it the terrain?
For the most part, yeah,
Okay,
actually.
yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of, like, hills and berms, but they were mostly man-made.
Yeah.
Like, there was fighting positions everywhere, like, across the street.
And years of it.
Yeah, Spiker was named after, I believe it was a pilot that went down in the Gulf War right there.
Yeah.
So they named that. That base was actually, like, one of Saddam's, like, it was his big Air Force base. It was his something Army airfield, Iraqi Army airfield something, right across, like, kind of like right across from Tikrit, like right down the street. And then across the street from that was where all of the munitions for that base were buried. It was like bunkers. So we hit them with bunker busters and all that shit. So that's just like a barren wasteland.
Yeah.
There's like foxholes everywhere. There's helmets and shit everywhere where the Iraqi army gave up, dude. And I mean, there's just munitions, like thousands and thousands of pounds of munitions buried across the street. Well, that's where Blackwater lived. They lived in we called it the ASP, the Ammo Supply Point, right across the street from Spiker. and I'm going to get to the story when Blackwater almost killed me the second time. I'll just tell this real quick.
Okay.
Main MSR, which is main supply route, it's like a highway that runs all the way past Chakrit, all the way down by, all the way down, I want to say past Samara. That runs right in front of Spiker. The enemy, they were dropping like sandbags with tank mines in them in front of Spiker. Like literally the balls on these guys.
Yeah.
You have to go through 2 long fucking gates, a long way, dude. It's at least a mile before you actually get to the main base. These dudes would, right there at the highway and the entrance, would drop these tank mines. And, I don't know exactly who got killed because it was never any of our guys.
Right.
We're not that fucking stupid to drive over something in the street.
Yeah, no
we
shit.
know better. We're like getting fucked up right there at the gate. So we decided to do an SKT, small kill team.
Okay.
Sent out, it was me, my platoon leader, my buddy Hev. He was a sergeant at the time, so he'd be like a squad leader. And I can't remember who the next guy was, but he was our gunner, and then myself. So it was like a 4-man team. We'd go out there, and we'd already talked to these guys, the Blackwater guys. Basically, like, here's the gate. We're going to stage over here in the ASP, and over here is where Blackwater's got their little, lookout towers and shit. Like, they occupied a very small area.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fences around this place anymore. And like behind it, there's like all these like rubble piles of buildings and shit. Well, like people moved into them and turned them into houses, like rebuilt them. Now there's like poor people living in there. And there's like little mud brick huts and stuff back in the back. And then, behind where they are, behind their little area, there's like a few standing apartment buildings. That area was called Hamari Shab. It was just like a little hamlet. It was basically what's left of like the barracks and housing for this ammo supply point.
And turn it
like
into a
so much
place.
of it was destroyed. It's hard to tell what all was what. But anyway, that's kind of the layout, across the street. So we're going to post up. Super clear visibility. Like you can see the road. I want to say we were probably like 300 meters. Nah, probably less than that. It was probably like 200 meters from the road watching that entrance. Got down in like a little natural depression, and all of a sudden we just start getting ripped at with tracers.
Really?
Like kissing the fucking ground. These bullets are so close.
Shit.
It turns out it was Blackwater. Those dudes were fucking wasted. We had just talked to them. We set this mission up with them, and we tell them we are sending 4-man team out to do an SKT, a small kill team, to try to stop who's doing this. We're going to be doing this for a week. Like my team went out, and then another team would go out, and so on every night until the battalion or brigade or whoever tells us to stop, or we kill the fuckers,
Right, catch them.
And these fuckers are just ripping rounds off. Turns out, and you can look this up too, they demolished that post the next day, or maybe a week later, something like that, because the guys were drinking, like getting wasted. And this is what they told us. They said, we saw 4 guys out there. It's clear as day. There's 4 guys out there with weapons. We're like, no shit.
Yeah, we told you.
Us.
Yeah.
You fucking idiots. And like they were ripping at us, dude.
That's
for real. Like no shit. And once we get done with this, like if you want, all this stuff I can verify, dude. Like it's not a problem. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that, especially. I don't know if there's like a wiki leak for it, but I mean, I have enough. Like my old platoon leader at the time, like this dude is such a stand-up dude. If you don't take his word for it, I don't know whose word you can take. He was so pissed. Like this guy, what he came from, he was like what's it called? Early childhood education was his degree. Like that's what he was gonna do. Yeah. And this guy, like Ranger tab, always shaved head, super squared away, mad fit, but the nicest fucking guy
he
ever.
Wants to teach kids and stuff.
Yeah,
Badass with a heart of gold.
This is what he told us. He's like, I just realized I don't like other people's kids. He's like, I love children. He's like, but I cannot. I just can't deal with other people's kids. He's like, I love children, but I just can't do it. It's not me. But he's like the nicest guy ever, dude. Always smiling. He never would raise his voice or anything. Like super fucking cool, dude. Captain Kabaki, you're the fucking man. I could say his name. He's not even in anymore, but he's fucking awesome. And like he's laying into these guys. Like what the fuck, I don't remember if he cussed because I don't remember him being big on swearing and stuff, but
it'd be warranted.
That's like the only time I ever saw that guy like lose his temper.
That's crazy. They tried to kill you. That's fucking ridiculous.
I want to say they were shooting. It was definitely closer than when in basic you have to crawl and they shoot over your head, you know. It was way closer than that, dude. Like, you could almost, like, I swear I could feel it, like, zipping over my head, man.
Dude.
Because every every fourth round is a tracer.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah, you see him.
Is it four, every 4 or 5? Whatever. I can't remember. 4, whatever. But, yeah, the guy they had the saws, the M249s, the little stubby ones, you know. All their cool guy shit with their beards.
Badasses.
We got you, guys. No. And they got drunk
idiots.
Tried to fucking kill us. And now, mind you, you know, it was either not long after or just shortly before this happened was the incident in Baghdad where they shot a bunch of civilians. That was like huge news.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh yeah.
So they were already like
catching a lot.
They were on blast bad.
Yeah.
I think this was actually after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I know is that was not, you know, too far removed. Like, those situations happened really close together. I don't know what happened to those guys. Like,
They got the fuck out right away, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, they, like, our engineers came in. We had to actually escort the engineers out there to bulldoze down their little thing. Now, mind you, that was bad though.
Yeah.
What did I tell you was buried out there?
All
the fucking munitions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So these poor people, what would happen? The enemy would say, "Hey, we can fuck you up, or we can pay you in American money, or you want dinar or you want American money. We can pay you, or we can fuck you up. So what we're going to pay you to do is you go dig in that ammo supply point.
Yeah.
You supply us with the explosives." Dude, I swear to God, we probably arrested, I'd say, at least 50 people out there.
Yeah, what kind of a distance down the road are we talking that they'd be digging? I mean, they're all right there, right?
So, all right. This square, okay, that I'm making with my hand.
Okay.
This is Spiker. Huge
like
Air Force
square.
base, okay?
Yeah.
That's where we're living. You got like a mile or two road that goes up to the highway.
Okay.
That's your checkpoints going in. Okay. You have like your outer perimeter, and then you have like your inner perimeter, and then there's your base. Okay. So you have several different lines you'd have to cross, but there's only one major road that goes into the base. You have secondary access roads going out into the desert. All of them are manned, but you have different like lines out there, you know, different wires or whatever.
Right.
So after a mile or two outside, you have this main supply route, MSR Tampa. Well, just on the other side of that road is the ammo supply point.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you specifically where everything was buried because, like I said, this was all bunkers and all that shit
too, right?
I don't know how these guys were doing it, but when they'd go dig, and I'll show you some pictures sometime. I'll show you some videos too if you want.
Oh yeah.
Where we'd catch these guys out there digging. If we had air support, if we ever saw any dust getting thrown up like a guy shoveling, it's like, well, we got to go check that out.
Yeah.
Thing is, a lot of times we can't travel over to them. Our Humvees are not made to go cross country like that with all, they got foxholes and all kinds of shit, Doug. Like, we physically cannot drive over there. Like, you'll fucking flip the Humvee.
Right.
They got the turret on the top. They'll turtle, dude. They'll fucking kill everybody in there.
Yeah.
You know? So if we had air support, we'd call, dude. And I remember one time we busted, it was a 13-year-old kid. It was like his probably 70-year-old grandfather, father, his uncle, and his other brother. I think the brother was probably like 19.
Jesus.
So it's like
wipe out the whole
five-man
family. Real quick.
No shit, dude. And what tripped me out was that the youngest, he was a 13-year-old kid.
Yeah.
We had to ball him up, dude. We had to arrest him. But while we're sitting there, like, I want to say I'm the one that noticed him because I was the lead gunner, so I see a lot of shit before everybody else. It could have been one of my buddies. I don't remember. It's neither here nor there, but one of us spotted it, and we're like, you know, we're doing just a regular presence patrol. We'd always go out. We'd check with the little hamlets and shit. Hamari Shab, Mujama, all those little areas outside Spiker. We wanted to be really cool with those guys, especially because not only because they're in close proximity, but a lot of them work with us too. Not only do they provide tips, but some of them run like the bazaar on post.
Yeah, work at the base.
Saddam's second cousin actually lived in Mujama. He was one of our interpreters.
Huh.
We didn't really trust that guy. His name was Mike. Give me 5 minutes. Ask me what happened to Mike. So we're out there getting balling these dudes up, and we actually had air support that day, and we're like, yeah, can you just kind of sweep around, let us know if you see anything else? And they're like, yeah, Roger, you do know that like 50 meters from where you guys are, there's a guy hiding in a hole. And we're like,
nope.
Which direction? You know, he gives us directions and shit. And we go over there, and like one of their other family members, I can't remember if it was an old dude or young dude or what. Because like I said, I was the gunner, so I wasn't actually on the ground like balling these dudes up, you know. I'm just watching all this. It's like,
Were you just sitting up in the turret?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't, there's no way I could see that guy, even though he's only 50 meters away.
And in
so
a hole.
many holes, yeah. And it'd be like, the section they had dug out was probably about, you know, the size of your living room. And, dude, there was probably just visible anything from like just the little anti-aircraft bullets to fucking, they had rounds like this big in the trunk of their car. They were taking the accelerant out and putting it in like these big like water jugs and fuel jugs.
Jesus.
So, and I still have the pictures of that too. I don't think I'm supposed to have pictures of detainees, but we used these pictures in a training, like a training video that I helped make for the incoming guys to show like anybody could be bad. But then we also explained like this family was being pressured into it. So what happened was we did end up turning them over to the Iraqis. The guy was, like I said, was in the hole. There's probably, if they were to pick all the metal up, it's probably like 10,000 pounds of metal, you know, and a lot of it with accelerant and all that shit. And it's like, we were showing them just how crazy it is and how you need to be cool with the people around there, especially the poor ones, because we have money we can offer too. It's like, if you're not cool with these people and you just bully them, well, they're not going to tell you when these insurgents come by and say, hey, you can either just, they don't have to blow us up or anything. All they do is dig it up. They give it to the financier, or let's see, how does it work? So the way it works is you got a guy with money. Then you, below him, you got like the trigger man. He's the one that'll blow the shit up.
Okay.
Then you got the guy that'll rig it up. Sometimes it's the same guy, but a lot of times it's not. So what they'll do, they'll pay him, hey, you go get this. This guy will take this around. You need to drop it off at this location. So what they'll do is they'll go place it.
Yes.
Then you have the actual emplacer. He'd be the guy that actually digs and will run the wire.
Right.
And then, you know, he'll run it to, like, let's say you want to plant it where your foot is. He'll fucking, this guy will drop it off. This guy will dig. He'll run the wire like to your front door. Yeah. Another guy will come over, hook it all up, blow it up. You know what I mean? So it's a chain. Yeah. You know, and it's like those guys weren't. They didn't hate us. Like even talking to them, like they're like,
no,
dude,
that's not like a paid military or anything. This is like guys just doing a job.
Yeah, they're like, I mean, look, we're poor as shit. We have no jobs. You know, they say they're going to kill us.
Yeah, gun to your head, do this job.
Even if we said, well, we can protect you, do you know how long it takes to get a truck out of that base and make it over to like Mujama? It's not going to happen, dude. If they come in, they could blaze all them dudes and then peel out before we even have a chance to even get out of the
just go execute
gate.
Whoever ain't listening.
Yeah, so they know. You know, I mean, that it was fucking wild. So
yeah.
But Mike, so we didn't really trust. I personally, there was only 2 interpreters we had that I trusted. One of them, his name was Rock. He sounded just like Borat. You remember the movie Borat?
Oh, yeah.
He was like, yes. That guy. Dude, it was so fucking funny. He sounded just like him. He had really long hair. I remember one time he pulled up his shirt and he just had bullet wounds all the way down. And we're like, what it was is Rock. We asked him, like, you know, how'd you get that? He was a member of the Iraqi army.
Okay.
So was his brother. It was either right before or right after the invasion. They got cornered. They got captured.
The initial 03?
Yeah. And they threw him and his brother, who were in the same squad, threw them down into a ditch.
Oh, and
just fucking started spraying them.
Yeah.
Just
there's videos of that shit. It's horrible.
Yeah, dude. And his brother, like right next to him, dude, just bled out right there.
Yeah.
Like choking, bled out. He was shot. I want to say he was shot like 6 times. And so after that, he's like, fuck them. Like, he's like the sweet. Oh, shit. He was like the sweetest dude ever when you talk to him. That motherfucker will give you the last dollar in his pocket, and you're both dying of thirst. He will give you the dollar to get something to drink. Like, the nicest fucking guy. I trusted him because he was from the area, and he knew what the fuck was going on. And I swear to God, anytime somebody was bullshitting, that guy was on point. And, like, he would see shit going on, like, where people were hurt or something, and that dude would, like, cry and shit. He never struck me as being like a hostile dude like that, and he really wanted revenge on him. And we had this other crazy fucker from Baghdad. I don't know where he was from. Like I don't remember if his family was Kurdish or what they were, but he had like a really weird accent, and he was missing a couple teeth in the front. His story was, now I don't know how true it is, was his father was a doctor in Baghdad, and I'm sure you heard stories about where they shoot up hospitals and shit and like execute doctors.
Yeah.
Oh, you used to perform abortions or whatever.
Right.
You're against, Sharia law kind of shit. You're committing crimes, and they'd execute doctors. Well, he says his dad was one of them. I don't know how true his story is, but we used to give this dude a pistol with an empty mag.
Okay.
And over there, they see you with a machine gun. The enemy's not scared of you with a weapon like that.
Right.
Like, let's say you detain somebody and you're going to tactically question them. Well, just because you have an M4 and shit, they don't care about that shit. They don't care about an AK. But you give an Iraqi citizen a pistol and say, all right, send somebody else with him that speaks Arabic, or send your intel guys over there and just let him stand there with a pistol while he questions them. He doesn't have to point it at him.
Huh.
They'll tell you what you want to know.
Was it just because there ain't usually pistols around, or because
pistol means execution?
Yeah.
And they see a guy pull out a pistol, and the guy, all you have to do is nail him down, let him stand behind him, make sure they see it, and then have your guy question him. Ooh. So he was real good with that.
What a crazy cultural tick, I
know it's very horrible for me to even mention this happening, but I mean that's what we had to do.
Yeah,
there's only been a couple of instances where I ever put my hands on anybody over there, and that was the guy that blew up my truck.
Yeah.
And then one guy that we had, he had killed a couple of engineers. Like we tracked him down through intel and shit that he had killed some EOD guys.
Yeah.
And when we found him and he ran, we ended up capturing him and shit. They found, and I still have the video of us blowing that shit up. Dude, they found something like, Jesus Christ, I want to say it was like 3,000 pounds of explosive ordnance that he was protecting.
Sitting on,
and this guy, that's one of the few times I actually got to do ground shit instead of turret shit, I was watching the guy and he tried to run. This was while we're in the middle of a raid, like, they're cleaning up and, searching the area and shit. Yeah, this fucker tried to run. I fucking, knocked his ass out.
That's fucking fair.
Yeah,
God.
But like we were so squared away, dude. Like my battalion, we didn't lose anyone the whole time.
Nice.
Like, we had guys get sent home, got shot or whatever, but our like loss of life was 0.
Nice.
And like I said,
for a whole first deployment,
for 15 months because we got extended.
Yeah.
So mind you, this was during the surge. So if you look up Saladin province for 2006, 2007, the most lethal time of that entire deployment was right there. Now my buddies, like I said, they got killed down in Bakuba. Like shit was popping off there. There were soldiers kidnapped there and all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
But as far as like actual casualties, numbers, ours was the worst. We were catching, they were doing the surge on Baghdad. Everybody was flooding out. They were flooding up to Samarra, Tikrit. And Tikrit was still super Saddam loyal. And we were there, like staying in one of his palaces, working with the special forces guys. Lived right there on we called it Business 1. It was like right in the middle of Tikrit. The day they executed Saddam, that shit was a madhouse.
Yeah. A lot of people upset. I mean,
oh fuck yeah, dude.
On.
I mean, there was like, you couldn't tell which people in the streets were like cheering, happy and like shooting in the air, and which guys were like basically out there rioting.
Right.
Kind of 50-50 they don't wear uniforms, It's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd just see gunfire, you'd see the fucking tracers everywhere, dude. The whole night, it was fucking madness.
Well, could you tell their tracers from your guys' tracers?
Well, a lot of times when they'd use tracers, they were green. Okay. I don't know if that's like Russian ammo, Iranian, like I don't know, but a lot of times when they'd shoot, it was green. Like ours was almost exclusively red.
Right. Right on.
So, I mean, and a lot of times they wouldn't use them. So if they were smart, I mean, if you're fucking smart and you know how to shoot, you wouldn't use them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Was it you who was telling me that you stayed in the palace, right? You just said that.
Yeah. If you see the videos when Saddam's hung, you'll see there's a video where he's standing on a balcony and he's like holding a rifle and he's shooting the rifle. That was called Mamoon Palace. It was his birthday palace. That's the palace we were staying in that night.
It wasn't. Was it you was telling me it was like gold fixtures and everything?
Yeah, but most of that shit was looted before I got there.
Okay.
So
right
I mean, a lot of the marble and cool shit was still there, but
kind of tore up though, huh?
Oh fuck yeah! And
wow, weird.
Once again, I can still show you pictures and some video and shit too. The Iraqi army took the place over, so they had like their crest, like right when you walk up to the palace. There's this big crest right there, and there's like this spray mark, like a scorch mark. And then if you look up on the balcony where he's standing, with the rifle, there's fucking hair and brains. Ooh. What happened was, the Iraqi army was having a little ceremony, and this was, I can't remember if we were there or it was right before we got there. The Iraqi was having their little ceremony, and there's like a sergeant major and stuff doing a ceremony, and some guy, one of the soldiers, had put a suicide vest on and walked right up and grabbed that dude and detonated it right in front of it, dude. So there's like blood and brains and shit still all over the fucking balcony. Jesus. Like you can see the scorch mark and everything. They couldn't clean it off. It like stained the stone. And I'm sure they could clean that off, but like they're not trying to power wash a fucking balcony. They don't care.
I'm worried about it at the moment, especially.
Yeah. But Mike.
Yeah.
So I never trusted this fucker. He was like a little greasy, like scheming, scandalous fucker anyway. And yeah, he lived right outside. The fact that he was Saddam's family member, like I don't give a fuck about that.
Was he rich for that?
No, like Mujama's not rich. Mujama's like, I'll show you some videos and pictures of that place. I mean, the people most of them were okay. It was like very poor, but we would actually allow this guy to leave with a pistol. Like he could take a pistol. Like I believe all of our interpreters that lived in the area, they were allowed to carry a firearm, like off and onto post. Like they had all the clearance and everything.
Yeah, and get checked in and everything.
Like they had to turn their weapon in when they got back or something. I don't know. I've never actually escorted him out, but I know he was able to carry a weapon. We're still, like me personally, I wasn't intel, so I don't know like the full story. I was only a private back then.
Okay.
But somebody caught that dude, and they knew what he was doing. Like they caught the motherfucker. There's no question. Like once again, I can show you pictures and videos of this shit too. I tried not to bring a lot of the nastier shit I saw home, and I definitely didn't post any of it because I don't want my family to see that shit. But they hung the dude. Like when you come out, turn right onto MSR Tampa, start heading towards Tikrit. You have to pass several overpasses. Well, that overpass that goes right into Tikrit, they actually hung his body, his burned body, from the fucking overpass with his hands and feet. They bound his arms and his legs, chopped off his hands and his feet, and they hung a sign around his neck. And I can't remember exactly, like I don't read Arabic, so I can't remember exactly what our guy said, but our interpreter, I think it was Rock, said that it said something like, this is what happens if you work with the American pigs. Like I'm paraphrasing, but I remember it had something about working with American pigs on it. Yeah. And there was another interpreter. He wasn't ours. I'm not sure whose guy he was, but it wasn't uncommon because we'd have to patrol up MSR Tampa. If EOD or route clearance did not go through, there's pretty much like, it's more than a 50-50 chance flipping a coin that you're gonna get hit if you travel this route enough that day. If it's not been cleared, you always want to try to let somebody go through first. Please don't let us be the first people. So it's not uncommon. You'd hear explosions every day.
Yeah.
And see smoke. Well, we see smoke one day, and this is heading up towards Beiji. And we know that the 1st of the 505th, the fucking infantry guys, they got Beiji up there. But in between, their area up there and ours, there's just that stretch of, MSR Tampa, and then it's like desert on the left. The ASP ends and it's like desert. And there's like little sparse towns in there. I don't remember the names of all of them, but like little hamlet type towns, lots of shit that was blown up, and then people would turn it into a house. It was just lots of shit. You'd see like random businesses on the highway, but it looked like some shit, like some apocalyptic shit, like an old gas station kind of thing. And we see smoke one day. We're like, well, we kind of got to check it out, like just make sure nobody got hit, because you don't always get the report if it's American people that got hit. Maybe it's the Iraqis. Now, mind you, we did not fucking trust the Iraqi police, that deployment. Very little did we trust the army, because that shit was in such disarray. The dudes would join just to attack. You know what I'm saying? To be able to infiltrate.
To turn around and start shooting?
Yeah, to just fuck people up, dude. Like, I'll tell you right now, we've shot at Iraqi police at least 4 or 5 times because they start shooting at us.
Yeah, that's fucked up. You hear so much of them just being novice and not trained and doing dumb shit.
It was a lot better by the second time I got there, but the first time, dude, you couldn't pay me to trust a fucking Iraqi police officer.
Right.
Iraqi army we had to work with, I trust them enough in knowing that they're not going to attack while they're with us.
Right.
Iraqi police, on the other hand, nah, you're always going to walk in front of me and you're not getting close to me kind of thing. So we figured, hey, maybe it's like Iraqi police got lit up. You know, who knows?
Right.
We got to check it out anyway. We have to do a patrol anyway. So I'm lead gunner again. Did you ever see the video where the road, like, it explodes and just kind of like it lifts up and the truck like swerves around it? It just like a big bubble comes out of the ground.
I don't know if I've seen that one specifically, but I've seen a lot of them.
It's like one of the like super
right.
big important IED videos that people show. It just shows the whole road. Like you see the asphalt basically turn into a big bubble and then it just falls down. It never blows out and the truck swerves around it. That was those infantry guys, the 1st, the 505th. That's the stretch of road I'm talking about, though. That's Tampa.
How long would it be from Tikrit to there?
Let's see.
Like 50 miles or 20 miles?
I would say less than that. I want to say it's probably like 30.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I'd really, it's been so long. When you look at like a map of Iraq, you know, like Tikrit would be like, you know, say this is the whole country.
Yeah.
It's probably like that far away.
Right on.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know, close but far enough for a couple little villages and such.
This was somewhere between the Beji and Tikrit, though, where we were at. It was just a random car on the side of the road. It was still smoldering, like it had burned, but it was parked. Like it clearly didn't get hit by an IED. We're like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you know, we didn't have mics on at the time. I actually had to yell into the truck. I'm like, we got a burning vehicle up here, blah, blah, blah. And it was always terrifying being the lead truck because, you know, you think you're going to be the one that gets hit first, but the way they would do it is they would time it for, they'd wait for a couple vehicles to pass, you know, the enemies here. They'd hit it so that they, you know, you'd keep going a little bit and they could escape. So, I mean, as long as I don't have the mine roller, you know, it's kind of safe on the roads.
What do you mean as long as you don't have the mine roller?
Well, they have these things that look like, it's just like, what are those things? Like a steamroller you know, on the road. It's basically one of those on the front of your truck, and it's
of
out
the Hummers?
enough. Yeah, yeah. A lot of platoons would have one of those, so if they hit a tank mine, it would blow that thing up instead of your vehicle. You see what I mean?
That sounds like a rough mess, though. Still.
Oh yeah, dude. It was fucking nerve-wracking.
No shit.
Dude, I wanted to shit my pants all the time riding around because it's like we're just riding around out in the middle of the desert, and it's like we had like for instance in Adwar, one of these areas, the road around Adwar was designated the military bypass. The only people allowed on it were coalition forces, Iraqi army, and Iraqi police. How fucking stupid is that?
Yeah.
Like,
so
they
here's
know
the shooting
any
gallery.
vehicle that goes on it, they can blow up.
Yeah.
Because it's an enemy to them. That's where I got fucked up. That's another story.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this vehicle, it's burning. I don't remember, like I said, I don't remember whose interpreter it was, but the same scenario. Bound hands, bound legs, no hands, no feet. I don't know where, I don't know if they're in there or what. Same scenario, though. The hands and feet were missing, and they actually put a fireproof box with the guy's identification and everything in there with the body, and he was in the trunk. They just set it on fire.
Wow.
But that was somebody's interpreter, too, because like I said, he had his little coalition ID and everything.
Oh, they got a calling card, huh?
Yeah.
And hands and feet.
I don't, like I said, I didn't actually get to handle it, like the box, but we did have to help remove the body out, and that's not the... Well, it was actually that was the first time I had to remove a burning body, like a burnt up body.
Blown up truck one too.
Yeah, it wasn't the last. But yeah, we actually had to take the guy's body out and shit. But I didn't get to fuck with anything in the box. Like I said, that's all intel shit. You know, whenever we find something like that, like the least amount of handling possible. Like one time I was collecting like where somebody had made it was like a homemade IED, like a HME, homemade explosive IED with like duct tape and shit.
Okay.
And I was out there collecting it so they could analyze it, and I totally forgot, like I didn't wear gloves.
Oh,
like I'm touching this tape, and I'm like, fuck, and this is gonna go into like the APHIS system or the system or something. Like hopefully they realize, since I'm in that system already, like, you know, since I have my prints, like, oh fuck, this soldier fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit. But yeah, like I got to bring some cool things home, like Iraqi training manuals and shit like that from that deployment. You know, because whenever we'd find like a box of like manuals that showed like anything like military or tactics, we would always turn all that stuff over to our intel guys so they could sift through it and make sure that this isn't, you know, like what they were doing with it. Okay, was this guy like a former soldier and just has it? Is this just like, if you were to, like, if you go into my room, I got like the bookshelf that has all my cool books, and then I got like the bookshelf that has old military manuals and shit.
Right.
Like, is it something like that, or is this guy like actively trying to do some shit? Yeah. So, but I mean, once they're done with it, I'd be like, oh, I get that, you know.
Nice.
So, 'cause their books, you know, I'm American, so like I know my books open, you know, like this. Their books open opposite. It's really weird, man.
Yeah.
So, but
nice.
Yeah. So that deployment was wild. Like I said, they had us living down in Adwar, you know, where they caught Saddam. We actually found out later. Now I cannot verify this 100%. I can't direct you anywhere, because as far as I know right now, from what my buddies are trying to figure out, that factory we lived in, now we knew it was a munitions factory. There's no disputing that. Everything was torn out of the inside, so there's like no working machinery, and there's bunkers outside. Okay. So we knew like they built weapons there, but we didn't know what. Apparently that is where the sarin was manufactured.
Oh, Jesus.
That's where they stored the rockets. They manufactured them there. They stored them in the bunkers where our gym was. That's where we'd work out and shit. Whenever we'd take mortars, that's where we would hide. That's where he supposedly, now this is what my buddy says, he's trying to get it put on like a list for anybody going to the VA and shit, that is where he manufactured sarin. So if that was like a mass chemical weapons factory, chances are that's probably where the rounds were manufactured that he used on the Kurdish civilians that got him ultimately executed. So it's kind of cool to be able to say I was there, but it's like, I really hope I wasn't around a bunch of nerve agent shit. No shit. You know?
Yeah, I get some kind of weird new cancer.
Yeah. So who knows? I mean, I have a buddy who he's still in. He talks about a lot of the symptoms that a lot of our guys came home with, like skin. You know, I got a lot of the...
Yeah, it sounds like lots of that, huh?
Yeah, I got like lots of skin issues and stuff like that, like really bad stomach issues and stuff like that. He says a lot of that he's been told has to do with chemical weapon, like light chemical weapon precursors or chemical weapon exposure. I cannot speak and tell you that that's true or not.
Right.
But from what we've been piecing together, it does seem like, you know, obviously we know there was weapons there. We were told that in our briefing, but we were not told what kind.
Right.
So
was depleted uranium an issue at all, or?
As far as that, okay, depleted uranium, no, that's some fucked up shit. So outside of that chemical munitions factory, now, like I said, they were actually manufacturing the things there, so they would bring in like wrecked trucks, tanks, and some of it was still around the base. You know, that I can tell you right now, some of those tanks were shot with DU. There's no question. And what they would do is they'd take that shit and they'd just melt it down and reprocess it. Well, even when we got there, you know, they were no longer making weapons there. You know, they all abandoned that, and then we moved in.
Right.
There's still the tanks and all that shit that they hadn't processed yet were all around that base. So there was still certain areas. It's kind of like when you play Call of Duty and you don't want to hear listen for the Geiger counter. Yeah. Like we knew, just first of all, we don't want to go near those wrecked tanks and shit, just in case it was DU.
Did anybody ever check it?
No.
But fuck it. No.
Yeah, like we just don't go there. Towards that back though, there's like packs of stray dogs and shit. Now, mind you, there's only probably at the time there was only like 40 of us living in this little patrol base. Like it's super small.
Yeah.
It has a big wall around it, but we couldn't man the whole thing. So we're probably, between us and the Iraqis, only using 15% of the space. So if I go fucking around back there by myself or just with one other dude, we could get attacked. Like nobody's going to know. You know?
That doesn't sound
so
like it.
You don't stray too far from your little home area. We were not, like we had guards and shit at the gate. We had guards like over here, but like we didn't have guards all the way around.
Right.
See, the enemy didn't know that, but we didn't.
That does not sound secure at all.
It's not.
Yeah.
Like, if I were to, I can show you pictures. I can Google Earth it and show you. It's crazy, dude. And you can still see the pock marks from the mortars where they try to walk them on us, dude. They're still there, dude.
That's crazy.
This was fucking, this was 10 years ago, and I can still show you the craters from where they walked mortars at us every day.
Yeah, it don't seem like they've ever had a chance to clean up yet, huh?
No, of course not. And like I said, we turned that base. I can't remember who was there before us, but they were starting to build it up and then abandon it. And there was just like a small number of guys just like us, because they were going to make that a bigger base and then decided not to. So there was people that were actually there before us.
Right.
I'm not saying we built the base. I mean, we made it our home. Small. We improved upon it. Yeah, but it was intended to be much, much, much bigger.
Right.
And they just...
Yeah, so it didn't make sense, though, as a structure.
Strategically, that base was awesome if you're trying to, pacify that area. Mm-hmm. We had, like I said, we sent Bravo battery somewhere. We sent my battery to Adwar, and then we had, the 505 up here, and then you had Spiker right outside to Crit. You had the engineers and all that shit, but let's say we needed engineers' help. We need EOD's help. Well, they have to come from Spiker.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, remember I said Beijing was probably 20 miles north? Well, we were probably 20 miles south.
Okay.
So all our support's right there at Spiker. We're down in Adwar. We're pretty much closer to Samara than to Crit. And they had a canal dug all the way across the road outside of our base. This canal ran all the way across the road. That whole road right there is one big police checkpoint. Okay. I'm talking stone arches, the whole nine, in the middle of the fucking road. And then next to it, it's a canal. So what the enemy would do, they drive a little hatchback car. Yeah. They'd cross over that canal in these little tiny dirt strips. They'd just cross over and they'd mortar us. Well, by the time we get out there to try to catch them, they would have crossed over that canal, and our vehicles were too big and heavy to cross over. Right. And plus, we cannot cross over that line because that's outside of our AO. That's outside of our battle zone. That's somebody else's.
Yeah.
And they just bang us, dude. They'd hop out. They'd fire 4 or 5, and they're gone, dude. Out. Yeah. So we just set up a Mark 19 grenade launcher,
Yeah.
We set one of those up, and if anybody we ever started taking incoming, they knew to just shoot right out there. Because there's nothing out there. It's literally wide open. They always shot from about the same area.
And you get mortar range with that thing?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Nice. That's fucking awesome.
I mean, these were little mortars, 60 millimeter.
Okay.
I was an artillery guy, but I wasn't 11 Charlie. I wasn't a mortar man.
Yeah.
I was field artillery.
Yeah.
Dude, those motherfucking Mark 19s can launch, son.
Yeah, I have no idea. That sounds fucking awesome.
They can launch. I don't remember what the range is, but where these guys, we found where they were shooting from, because we are artillerymen, so we do know some things. Yeah. They were using, their mortar has a base plate, so it leaves a specific mark in the ground, and we could also find what they were using as their aiming reference. What they would do, how you have your camera set up, they'd set a metal piece of rebar, kind of like a shepherd's hook kind of deal, and they'd use that. That'd be their what we'd call in artillery an aiming circle. They'd use that, and they'd look, okay, well, there's the fire, okay, where we burned all our trash.
Okay.
They'd be like, all right, we know that the fire pit is to the left, and they'd estimate how many meters our actual building was. They know the Iraqis live right inside the gate. Our building's behind that, but they were never sure which one of the buildings were ours. I mean, I'm sure they had enough intel to know about where we were.
Right.
But we were in one section of this giant, basically like a warehouse. We had one little section. So what they'd try to do is every day when they didn't mortar every single day, but when they would, they would try, okay, boom, they'd see where that one blew up, how in relation to the fire pit, and they'd walk them over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the closest they ever got to actually landing one on our building was still probably a good couple, 150, 200 meters away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still scary as fuck.
Oh,
anybody that tries to tell you they're not scared when they're being shot at or a mortar attack's happening, they're fucking full of shit. They're fucking full of shit. Wherever the fuck, is that your camera? Full of shit. Yeah. I'll tell you right now. It's scary as hell.
Yeah, what's the blast radius on one of those when they hit?
Well, 60 millimeter?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I mean, just a regular frag grenade is 5 and 15. 5 meters, 15 meters. So I'd say, let's see, 60 mil, probably about, I mean, it's got to be pretty good. I'd say maybe that's more maybe that thing's more 25 and 50 or something.
That's pretty fucking big.
I mean, 50 meters for wound. I mean, I could be wrong. They're really not very big, and the only reason
a little more than a grenade, though.
Yeah, probably like double. I mean, like I said, I wasn't a mortarman, but I mean, you got to be pretty. My point is, you got to be pretty fucking. It's got to be close to you to really fuck you up. Okay, I mean, unless you're just severely unlucky, it's just one of those chance things where that one piece of shrapnel hits you. You know? But I don't know what the actual like max effective range and the kill range is. I really don't know, but enough, they're not big. I mean, they'll rattle the ground and shit, and it's still scary as fuck.
I'm sure.
But. Yeah. It's scary as fuck. I don't care what anybody says, dude. That shit's scary. You'll find out who the bitches are real quick.
Right.
And there's been a couple times where I will fucking swear I'm gonna lock up and shit, but I've always managed to at least, do keep something, moving. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, but let's see, what other things on the first deployment? What other good stories?
It was the second that you got hit on? That your truck got hit?
No, that's the first.
That's first?
Yeah. I actually got hit twice in 1 week. My actual truck, we got hit twice in 1 week. Now, as far as like IED attacks on my platoon, I couldn't even tell you how many, dude. I mean, I could probably pull up a good 6 just on WikiLeaks. You know? And those are the ones that actually cause damage. If there's no damage to the vehicle, or like nobody's wounded from it. A lot of times there's no report. That doesn't mean we didn't report it. That just means it never made it to WikiLeaks.
Didn't matter enough to keep processing.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a record of it somewhere because, like I said, we called everything up. We always had a rule in my platoon. And sorry anybody that was in my platoon if you didn't want me to say this, but it's like what happens in the platoon stays in the platoon. Mm-hmm. Now this is to protect everybody. It's not. We're not trying to do anything fucked up. We're not trying to hurt civilians. We never did. I can tell you that. But what I'm saying is if somebody made some kind of a mistake, we're all trying to go home.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We always all had human. And
we always had that rule, dude. And I thank God every day, man. I never had to exercise that shit. But for instance, one of my buddies accidentally, he shot a 14-year-old boy. This was not in my platoon. So it was not one of those things. This actually did get called up. They medevaced the kid back to, it was Adwar, our patrol base. It was patrol base Woodcock. They ended up medevacing the kid back with the Humvee. Drove him back. This was right inside Adwar, so probably like a 10-minute drive. Now, mind you, had the only 2 ways you could go was the military bypass. Mm-hmm. You're not going to take that, especially not in the daytime. Or straight through the middle of town.
Right.
Straight through the middle of town. They would tie fishing wire to like crush switch IEDs. Mm-hmm. What it is it'd be like 2 pieces of wood, 2 different copper wires, a piece of tubing in the middle or whatever, so that it's separated. But the second your truck runs over it, it becomes a pressure switch.
Right.
They would tie fishing wire to it in the street. See, like normally they'd try to bury it or whatever, but we were starting to notice their shit. So what they do is they tie fishing wire to it and leave it on the side of the road, and there's shit all over the side of the road. All you have to do is pull that under your truck. So basically what I'm saying is, anytime you drive through that area, it's dangerous as fuck. Like you're probably the first patrol out of that day is going to get hit, period.
That's so crazy ballsy of them too. I mean, because they're right fucking there with a string doing it. That's so crazy.
I can't remember if it was a dude that shot just like small arms fire or actually was like a RPG or what, because there's so many different incidents. Like I said, this wasn't my actual platoon. They were shooting at the truck, and my buddy Frank up in the turret, like I said, not my platoon though, fucking returned fire. And while he's blasting at the dudes, like he completely got clear to this. It was a total accident. Like a 14-year-old kid ran out in the street.
Damn.
Like in chaos, ran out in the street.
Not even paying attention.
He's trained on the guy. I'm pretty sure somebody had footage of it too. Like this was like an investigation. Because like I said, whenever a civilian's wounded, they do an investigation.
Right.
Period. Like there's going to be like a colonel or somebody flying the fuck out there. Somebody's going to come talk to you, period. I don't care who you are. It's going to happen.
What a weird mechanism of war, too.
Yeah, like my actual medic, like one of my good buddies, he was in the unit when I got there and everything. Had to the only thing he could do was like put pretty much his fist inside the hole in this kid's head to like hold, he's like holding the kid's brains in. And that kid ended up dying, man. We got him back to Woodcock, and they actually air evac'd him back to Spiker. Yeah, but he ended up dying. And like my buddy, dude, he's still a mess from that, and it was a complete accident. Like
he's probably half tunnel vision focused on his job.
The thing is though, the still they're not 100% sure if it was the people that were shooting at him or if he's the one that hit the kid.
Right.
But somebody hit that kid. You know what I mean? And it, like, that's why, like, when I got the RPG shot at me in Tikrit, you know, genius commander at the time, genius first sergeant, you know who you are. Thought it was a good idea because they were both trying to make their paperwork look stellar. They wanted to go door to door and ask about insurgency.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of Tikrit. Yeah, stupid. So we're going literally door to door. This commander, I mean, dude, he was a good guy. Don't get me wrong. But he didn't have any experience with this shit.
Right.
Now, we had already been doing maneuvers for several months at this time. I was probably like 5 months in, I'd say. You know, just found out we're getting extended. So we ended up doing 15 months total. But we knew, like, we already kind of had a pretty good feel for where you do and don't go around Tikrit.
Right.
What good times you want to go here and here. Like, obviously don't drive down Bridge Street until it's cleared by EOD. Or at least try to get the Iraqis to go first. Mm-hmm. You know, shit like that.
Yeah.
This guy wanted, dude, I swear to God, he wanted to go door to door. Like a fucking newspaper salesman and ask, are there any insurgents here?
That's so ridiculous.
Retarded?
What do you
like,
expect to get?
Right. And not only that, okay, let's say that the person does give you intel. You just did that in broad daylight.
Yeah, now that person's fucked
That
too.
person's fucked. They're going to kill that guy if anybody gets balled up. The way to do it is your source calls in, okay? You go ball him up at night, make it look like a raid. You wreck a little bit of shit. You compensate him for what you destroy, but you make it look like that. Or you pick him up somewhere that's not his house. Like, we used to do it all the time. That's the way you do it. That's the way you work a source. This motherfucker wanted to go door to door, and I kid you not, it's like 110 degrees.
Oh, awesome.
Like I said,
that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I'm the lead gunner. Now this guy was he was a ranger and shit, dude. Like, he had the ranger tab and shit. Like, he was a fairly, like, physically tough guy. He looked like a fucking geek, but he was a pretty tough dude, you know? Like, as far as physical wise, like I said, man, the guy was a fucking stud, but he was an idiot. He had that fucking officer mentality, you know, the jokes in the movies. Officers, fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Not all of them are like that, I can tell you right now, but this guy was one of them, man. He wanted his officer evaluations to show that he fucking single-handedly stopped insurgency in Tikrit or some shit. And this was great, dude. Like I said, we just got a new first sergeant and new commander pretty much like back to back. And at the time, I had the really cool first sergeant, the one I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Man, come on, man, that guy, really funny dude.
Yeah.
And man, this motherfucker comes in and he's like, okay, we're going to go door to door. All right, let's do that. And I go to sit down. I kid you not. I had one of the sling seats in my turret. It's like, basically I'm sitting in like a swing.
Yeah.
And it's hot as fuck, dude. Like, he was like, 82nd's real big on uniforms. They don't want you rolling up your sleeves or taking off your gloves. I wanted to wear a headband, and my first sergeant, being new, never been out there with us, you can't wear that shit.
Right.
I'm a fucking lead gunner, dude. I got to keep that shit out of my fucking eyes.
Eye.
It was ACU colored and everything. It's not like I'm wearing a red bandana or something. I'm not fucking like
gang
Tupac in it.
Yeah.
And I said, fuck it, dude. I went to sit down. I kid you not. I go to pop off my helmet. All I wanted to do was wipe my head. That's it. The second I sit down, I see and a fucking rocket. Dude, I swear to God, it would have hit me in the fucking face, dude. It was like that close.
Fuck.
Right over the top. And now, you've seen like movies that are set in like Iraq or any of those places. You'll see like the brick walls around the houses, you know, like the tan brick houses. This was like in the middle of the city, but it was like a residential area, you know, with all the walls. Well, directly in front of us, it's like a building that had gotten blown up. Who knows when? All that's left is like a rubble pile of bricks and shit. The guy had shot, like, basically peeked up over it and shot a rocket. I don't know how he got to it, because on either side, what he must have done was, because this captain, now mind you, they're on foot. We're shadowing them in vehicles, okay? Going door to door like fucking magazine salesmen. This motherfucker probably just posted up and waited, because he knew this is where we're turning. He just posted up and waited, dude. Shot this fucking rocket. My fucking first sergeant tried to climb under the Humvee. What the fuck are you doing?
No shit, dude.
For real. My guys that had already been doing this for months, because we'd been kicking indoors and shit, they immediately start heading that way.
It was just the one rocket fire or any other incoming fire or anything? Or that's...
No, that was it. That was it. Like a lot of our attacks that would happen to us was just like that. You'd have like your probe attacks where they'd see how you react. You'd have your sniper attacks where they'd pop a few shots. A lot of times the sniper attacks were fucking... Dude, there was one guy in Adwar that was using armor-piercing bullets, man.
Yeah.
Like, go through your turret bullets.
Wow.
One dude had only been there 2 weeks, man. Got shot through the forearm. My buddy Buchanan, fucking about 10 years ago today, man. It was probably like 10 years. It was like 2 weeks ago. I told you about that. Actually took a round through the thigh, man.
Yeah.
If it had just been a little bit over, he'd have been done. It would have been right through his artery. I mean, it's crazy. But so anyway, First Sergeant tries to climb under the fucking truck. First Sergeant, what the fuck are you doing? Like, for real?
He didn't want to show everybody his pee stain.
It gets better. So, I don't know where. Like I said, I'm not going to say either one of their names.
You're fine.
I still like the guys. But I'm sorry, I'm going to have to point out your cowardice here. I don't know where Captain went, man. This motherfucker, I don't know if he jumped in somebody's truck. I don't know if he's hiding behind a wall. But our guys, like, the guys that were on the ground with him, dude, they charged. They see where the smoke came from.
Business.
The guy popped it and dipped. When he ran, he ran down around. Okay, there's like a wall behind him. Like I said, the people got like the privacy walls or whatever, the brick walls. He ran into the market right there. Now, let's say I just decided to fucking Hail Mary and just spray. Dude, I would have been killing people's grandmas and kids. There's an open market back there. I'm in a neighborhood, but that's a market.
Yeah.
Now, I could have shot straight forward, just, 15 degrees, maybe 10 degrees from where the market was, where the fire came from, and there's a wall right there and shit. Maybe I could have did that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with positive identification, you don't shoot just where the shots came from. You identify a target and shoot. That's straight up, dude. That's rules of engagement. Like, if I don't follow that, that's how civilians get killed. Yep. Panicking and shit, that's how civilians get killed. I don't see a guy to shoot. I don't have a target. I'm not going to spray a neighborhood. Like, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Quit playing.
Yeah.
So we go to shadow the guys driving the truck. Guess what my truck decides to do? Hey, we think the guy might have went in here. I just assume he ran down the market. I have no idea. I see, watch it. Boom, behind us. It landed in somebody's yard back there and shit. I don't know where the guy went. Like, I didn't see shit, dude. All I saw was like the flat, like the smoke and like dust. Because that shit fucking.
Yeah.
I have no idea. This guy, for all I know, that motherfucker went into a fucking manhole. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they are convinced that this motherfucker just went through the gate behind him. Like, he went into this house. Swear to God, he dropped the tube right here. He's in there. Okay, fuck it. Well, we drove the truck through the fucking wall. And that's not the first time, dude. Do you know how many times we smashed through somebody's fucking wall or gate? We did exactly what Blackwater did to me. But, like, and I feel so bad because I to this day, I don't know. Maybe that guy didn't come from there. I don't even know if somebody lived in that house. We smashed down the wall around their house. We didn't actually drive into their house. But I'll tell you right now, our guys went into the
walls done.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The guy that blew up my truck drove right through that motherfucker's courtyard wall and the side of his house.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We caught that guy red-handed, dude. Yeah. Caught him with I can show you the pictures of that. We got pictures of the trigger. We got where he would hide. He had the palm leaves all stuck in his little garden. He would just lay there, dude. Man. He had the trigger. He had a hole carved under the wall. He would hide right outside the wall around his house. He'd just blow shit up on military bypass. Dude, we found 6 sets of wires ran out there. He killed...
doing it for a minute, huh?
If he did every single one of them... they're all going to his house, yes. That doesn't mean he was always the trigger guy. But if it was, he killed, I want to say it was 4 Iraqi army guys. Mm-hmm. It was either army or police. I can't remember. We were working with the army. So it was Iraqi army. He also killed 2 MPs from, I believe they were Alabama National Guard MPs. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Those guys also came out there when I got hit. We called them up. We got hit. They freaked out so bad because they knew that area and they'd lost a guy over there.
Yeah.
They came over to check on us. They're like, are you guys okay? We're like, yeah, we're going to go get this guy. We see the wires, blah, blah, blah. I pointed them out. Said, there's the wires. Let's fucking get them. Oh, yeah.
Wait, that's right after you got hit?
Yes, and they went home. They left us.
Why?
They were
I
scared.
thought they'd be hot to fucking get these dudes.
They were fucking terrified. Now, mind you, remember I told you about that checkpoint, the police checkpoint?
Uh-huh.
We went right across the middle of the road. Okay, here's our base. We got Woodcock. There was, right on the other side of that military checkpoint, there was a little town. God, what the hell was it called? God, something with an M. Mujaria. I can't remember the name of it, dude. I'll let you know. Like I said, you can Google it on Google Maps. It'll tell you the name. God, what the hell was the name of it?
I should have set up the other
Mujama.
computer. We could have.
It was Mujama.
Had maps, you know.
It's basically, it's like project apartments, project style. There's like 4 that kind of like form this weird like plus shaped courtyard thing.
Okay.
And then there's like municipal buildings like around it. It was really fucking weird. And like half one of the apartments was like destroyed by like, I don't know, like anti-aircraft guns and shit, dude. It was crazy as fuck.
Huh.
Well, we'd always go and patrol that because honestly, if a guy had a really good rifle and was a really good shot, he could technically hit some of our guys on our base. See what I mean? So we always had a truck that would watch towards Mujama from our little base.
That idea.
Oh, absolutely. Because a good enough sniper, he'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
So we'd go in there every so often. We wanted to get a good rapport with the locals in there anyway. Hey, do you guys need anything? We were cool with them. Like, they're all poor as fuck, dude. And I want to say God, I think it was Mujama. I'm almost positive. Yeah, sounds right. Mujama might have been the place outside of Spiker. Like I said, dude, they all have weird-ass names, dude.
Yeah.
And, like, if I look up the spelling for Adwar or Dwara, however the fuck they say it, like, everybody says it different. Some of them spells it with a U, some with a W, or whatever. The place right outside of motherfucking Adwar.
Okay.
It's basically, it looks like a bunch of fucking apartment buildings anyway. They went to drive into there to do their patrols because, see, they were living in Patrol Base Woodcock. They had their own little room in our big building, but, like, they never would talk to us. Like, they wouldn't go to the gym with us. Like, they would come and eat in the chow hall we were at, like, and it's our guys feeding them and shit. But, like, they wouldn't, I don't know, they just, like, didn't hang out with us. Like, I mean, I talked to them, a couple of the guys a couple times. Like, they were all cool, but, like, I don't know what the deal was. Like, they didn't really intermingle with us. It was really weird. And we would do, like, all of our big raids and shit, like, where we'd lock down little towns and shit or neighborhoods. Like, they were a part of it.
Yeah.
But, and I'd have to look to verify the numbers exactly, but they went to go on just a presence patrol, regular, because they're MPs. Their job was to deal with the Iraqi police a lot. Well, they went to drive through that checkpoint to go. Now, mind you, this is only a couple 100 meters outside of our gate to our little. This was the little base. Now, this was the patrol base, not the big fucker where they were doing the tank mines, but our battalion or our battery, actually, our battery's base. Okay, our 90-man elements base, and they go through that checkpoint, and it's fucking crazy. But what happened was, insurgents from we're guessing, like I said, I wasn't intel, so I don't know the whole story. We're guessing it was insurgents, from the surge, came up through Samara and everything. They killed every single one of the Iraqi police in that checkpoint.
Damn.
They even killed the fucking dogs. Took the uniforms, put Iraqi uniforms on, and waited for these dudes to go through.
Damn.
And just banged them with RKG-3 grenades, the armor-penetrating grenades.
Wow.
I want to say they lost, it was either 5 or 6 dudes in like 30 seconds, man.
Wow.
Like 200 meters outside the gate, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's a pretty
So you got to think,
attack.
man, they lost 2 dudes right there on the military bypass around this time, and then lost like 5 or 6 in one fucking attack right outside.
And they just got scared from it.
I don't remember if all 5 or 6 of the guys died.
Yeah.
But that's casualties. Dude, it might have been, they might have all died. Like, I know they all went home somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a
So
pretty wild attack.
they were, like I said, man, they were shook.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the 101st, dude, those guys, I mean, they lost a soldier the week we were switching off with them, like while we were doing left seat, right seat rides, like where we'd ride with them, they'd ride with us, show us lay of the land. They lost a guy right then.
The IED or?
Same thing, grenade.
Yeah. Wow.
A couple of my buddies from Bravo Battery were in the fucking truck with him.
That's so...
Dude was in the passenger seat, the TC seat.
Fucking tossing them on him.
Yeah, threw it up. Pow, punch like a little parachute grenade. Punch right through the top.
Wow.
Went down through the guy's like neck and chest.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
I'm glad I wasn't on that one.
Well, no shit.
I mean, just because I wouldn't want to see that shit. I mean, there's been so many times in Chakrit where we'd be like QRF, or we'd just be the unit that's out there, and we'd have to see like Marines getting dragged out. Fucking. Right. I think the only thing I didn't, maybe it was, I want to say it was a Navy EOD. So yeah, I even saw dead Navy guys, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't see was Coast Guard.
Huh.
And I know there was an Air Force dog handler. If I remember correctly, he was a dog handler. But I even saw a dead Air Force guy over there, man. It's crazy. Yeah. Like I said, man, we didn't lose anybody personally, like my actual battalion, not
sounds
just my
lucky.
battery.
I mean, at this point, you guys got hit enough. It
sounds absolutely.
Like you dealt with enough
shit.
But,
you know, it is. A lot of it is luck, but a lot of it also, too, it depends on how you posture yourself. Like, the Chakrit area was a different kind of beast, dude. Like, they were just hitting us all the time.
Right.
But it was not super coordinated. You know what I mean? Like every so often you'd stumble across coordinated attacks. For the most part, it was few and far between, just little shit.
Yeah,
you know,
pop
IEDs,
off some mortars.
Your random RPG, pop a couple of mortars. But it was very rarely ever was it a sustained attack. Like what happened to the MPs? I can't say that would have never happened to us, but the way, and I am very proud to say it, the way we postured ourselves in both deployments, we were hot shit, dude. We were hard, like for real.
What would have been the difference for you guys going through that gate? I mean, that sounds so like, fuck, man. They disguise themselves and everything. That's a pretty tricky one to see.
I can't say for sure because, like I said, I don't want to talk shit and say, well, we would have did it better. But I honestly think like, and it got to the point where my platoon sergeant, especially on my second deployment, would trust when any one of us that had deployed. You know, any one of us said, we don't trust, like, I don't like the way this looks. I don't feel right. Like, he trusted that shit, like, almost supernaturally would trust it until he didn't and got shot in the face.
Yeah.
Like, it
yeah, that was first deployment, too, then, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, how'd that one play out?
That was
second?
Yeah,
Same guy?
No. I'm just saying, when I speak, I'm saying, platoon sergeants and shit would trust us if we said something was hinky, like, and I used him as an example. He always trusted our opinions until the one day he didn't. He got cocky, and then that happened to be the day. I love the guy to death, dude. He was like one of the best platoon sergeants I ever had. I don't have anything bad to say. And when I say he was being cocky, I just mean he wasn't really complacent, but yeah, actually he was. He was complacent because he was saying, these motherfuckers, they ain't gonna hurt me. They can't
weren't
do
you guys
shit.
like having a busy like dealing with public day that day? We can get to this another time. I mean,
yeah, let's tell that one. We'll go over the
deployment, second one.
Yeah, we'll go over the second deployment next time. But you know, it's when you start to get really complacent and you get too comfortable, or you're thinking, I only got a month left. Like I'm in the tail end. This is the home stretch.
Yeah.
Or I've been down this road a million times. You can't be like that, dude. Because the second you start getting comfortable and shit, that's when the shit happens.
Yeah.
You know, and like me, dude, I was always very hyper vigilant, dude. Like for instance, when my truck got hit, was it the first time or second time? It was July 22nd, 2007. That's the one that actually I got the TBI and all that shit. Like, and that's the one I was telling you where we went and smashed the guy.
Yeah.
I actually was not the lead gunner that time because a lot of times I would see shit as the lead gunner.
Right.
I always had spotlights at night. In the daytime, there's been twice. And one of the times, I had that same first sergeant, the one that tried to climb under the vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that motherfucker didn't write me an award because I stopped the convoy because the sun was setting and I could see the copper wire like 100 meters in front of us. And I was like, hey, there's a fucking IED. Stop.
You got some fucking good eyes.
I did at the time. My shit's it's kind of bad now. But
you're still fucking better than me.
Yeah.
It's funny as
so,
shit.
Same scenario, though. I was not in the front this time. I was facing the rear. And like I said, they'll wait till so many vehicles pass and they try to hit the rear few trucks. That's what they did. Luckily, the blast was not centered on my vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
All it did was knock me out. I didn't catch the shrapnel and shit. I mean, a bunch of pebbles and shit busted me in the face and
I'm
cracked
having
the
a hard
glass.
time picturing this. You were facing the rear?
Yeah. See, normally when I was the lead truck, I would be facing the front. you'd stagger. Your second gun would either be to the left or the right, like this.
Oh, I got you.
And then your rear truck faces the rear.
Yeah.
Somebody watching the 6. At that time, I was with the platoon sergeant for that patrol watching the rear.
Gotcha.
They wanted I don't remember what we were doing. I think we were doing a couple of raids. It's like random house raids, like just to bust them up, see what the fuck was happening. Because like I said, if you look up Operation Hershey, you look up like 3rd Brigade Combat Team, 82nd Airborne Division, Operation Hershey, you can still find a bunch of write-ups where we actually surrounded Adwar completely before we moved into Woodcock Patrol Base and swept the whole fucking town. Wow. We told everybody, if you're not the enemy, you got to go. Period. If you're still here, you're going to be treated like the enemy. Not that we'll shoot you, but we're going to detain you, period. We're going into every fucking building. We even went into the goddamn farm twice while I was over there that they caught Saddam in. Yeah. We were told to be careful around there because they were booby trapping that bitch.
Right.
No. We actually chased, it was like 2 weeks before I went home, we chased a sniper through there. The guy that shot my buddy Buchanan, I'm pretty sure it was that guy. Yeah. We chased a sniper through there. He was on like a dirt bike. Yeah.
That's crazy.
But anyway, got hit, knocked me the fuck out and shit. We called out. There's 2 separate scenarios where my platoon got hit on a military bypass right there. And I think it was the time that I got hit that we called the MPs, and then they all they did was check, you guys okay? Okay.
Yeah.
And then they bailed.
Yeah.
It might have been a different night when we caught the guy. Because I was lead truck. Yeah, so it would have been a different night because I was the lead truck, and I'm shining the light like this. Now, mind you, I didn't see it. My driver, Joe, he saw it. His name was Joe.
Yeah.
So he's the one that saw it. He's like, is that wire? And I fucking grabbed him, like, stop. Yeah. It ended up being a 110. It was a 110 millimeter mortar and a 120. Yeah, Russian.
Yeah.
I can show you the videos of that.
Fuckers.
I'll show you the videos of that getting blown up. That didn't hit us.
Yeah.
What it was is we looked at it. We called the OD. Yeah. The dudes never came out. The MPs, they didn't come out for that one.
Okay.
Like they were patrolling around doing their thing. They didn't come out. We sat out there alone. It was just my platoon. I want to say like 1st platoon or maybe 3rd platoon. Like, because we, if anybody had something, we'd come out and check on each other and shit.
Right.
They got their own patrols too. It wasn't just one platoon rolling around. Multiple guys at any given time. We'd leave one back for QRF, and 2 would go out and do their thing, or just one would go out, the other one would be on QRF, the other people would get downtime. But, constantly there's somebody moving around. I'm sure one of them came out, but like I said, a lot of times we were on our own, especially air support, dude. If medevac status was red, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Red means, it's dusty or they just don't have anyone. And plus you got to think, dude, they're kind of far away.
Yeah.
We actually, it's not a big story, but one of my FOs got to call in a 500-pound bomb on one of the houses, not into Adwar, but one of the small houses outside. Patrol Base Woodcock was actually named after Sergeant Daniel Woodcock.
Okay.
He was going inside of a building. I believe they took small arms. I think that's what it was. And they went to bust the door open to the house. And it was right there outside Adwar. He kicked the door. It was booby trapped.
Oh.
And yeah. Like I said, he wasn't part of my battalion, but he was part of my brigade. I think he was the first casualty in that area for my brigade. Yeah, so
they said, "Fuck this whole
that's
house."
If I remember correctly, that's one of the main reasons that we did all that shit in Adwar, because Adwar that place was a madhouse,
Yeah.
And nobody was paying it much attention.
Right. So we kind of got to
the Army started to build that base there and then just abandoned it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then we said, "Fuck that." We took the whole fucking town and took the base.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, Joe sees the wire. I'm almost 100% positive it was Joe. I don't want to take the credit for that. I'm pretty sure it was Joe, and I'm up there with the spotlight. We track it. We trace it all the way. Sure as shit, man. You see the guy's little power box. I showed you a picture of that with the toggle and shit. You could see all the other sets of wires. There was a total of 6. And one of them led right up to the crater where he had hit me. I want to say it was just a couple of days prior. This was all in a very short time. We immediately, dude, drove right through the guy's gate. Like, smashed his gate down, the whole mud brick wall, fucking shattered, and drove right through the side of his house.
Fuck yeah.
I only felt bad because he had his family in there. Now, we didn't hit the family. They're not sleeping in the living room anyway.
Yeah.
And so we ball the guy up. he had like the plate of food, bottle of water. I don't think I showed you any pictures of the setup. I have that too, but I showed you the Traeger and shit. And they put him in my truck.
Was he chilling there at the switch when you guys rolled in?
No, he was sleeping. But he had a hole cut under the wall where he'd just crawl. Is like a kind of like you put chicken wire around your garden. It was just like that, and he took the palm leaves and just stuck it all in that. And what he'd do is crawl into the wall and he'd just hide. And his wife would bring him food and water and shit. And all it was those backup batteries you use for like your alarm clock. Say you're in an area where your power goes out a lot, you keep that so like you don't small things, your alarm clock, shit like that doesn't lose power. Yeah, that's what it was. And he just had a toggle switch on it. Yeah. Like he'd literally spliced like a lamp switch or something.
Oh, he needs a breaker.
Yeah. That's what he was using, dude. And it was just sitting right there. I have like a picture of the plate of food and the water. And it's fucking crazy, dude. And he had 6 sets. They had the 110 and the 120 millimeter mortar. I got videos of that shit getting blown up too. It's fucking cool.
Yeah, I bet.
And one of them, we were able to trace it out, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you got to put him in Ames's truck." Yeah. That's like the only. I definitely abused that prisoner. I'm just putting that out there. I definitely gave that guy a nice kick, because, like I said, if we're 100% positive, this traced up to the crater where the MPs got killed. The 2 MPs. So
yeah, well, he obviously was hitting it hard. That's pretty intense too. And having your whole family on board. I mean, well, obviously they're going to be doing that. It's a war.
And like the Iraqi army, like I said, we didn't really trust those guys. They actually had their own little area on our base too. So it's, like I said, we don't really have the trust and shit, but we're living with these fuckers. I don't just mean like they're living close to us. I mean, in our patrol base, it was a joint patrol base. Right. They lived with us.
Yeah.
And like I told you, there's that one guy. I'll get to this. Okay. There's a guy we caught. Okay. What had happened was, this is where we kind of started to trust these guys a little bit more, because we gave them up armored Humvees and body armor and shit, and they never wanted to use any of that shit. They're like, "No, Mr. Truck, we use pickup truck. Toyotas. Pickup truck, good, good." They got like a mounted machine gun in the back of like a fucking Datsun and shit. They didn't give a fuck, dude. Well, I was actually on gate guard this day. Yeah. And this was fucking horrible, dude. This is like, what happened was so fucking horrible. Like seeing like, wounded kids and shit, that was the worst. So I don't mean this was worse than that. I just mean the result.
Dirty, messy.
Yeah. So these guys roll out in a pickup truck, and nobody had went out yet. No route clearance or EOD or anything has come through yet this whole day. I'm like, I look down at my buddy. I'm like, Joe. It's my buddy Joe. He was my driver and shit, dude. That's my boy right there. Yeah. I was like, dude, these guys are fucked.
Yeah, no armor.
I was like, are you ready to go out, man? And he's like, fuck no. He's like, we're about to get off guard in like an hour. And he's like, fuck. All of a sudden, boom. You fucking look right over, a couple 100 meters to my fucking, 10 o'clock. It's like, oh, Christ. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I was like, they were in the pickup, dude. We go out there, and there's a crush switch IED. Fucking killed all of them, dude. There was like 3 guys in the front, and then the guy that was on the machine gun.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what, but I know like some part of the machine gun was actually like wedged in the guy's chest.
Blasted it into him.
He's like crispy, fucking flew off. Like something from the machine gun or the mount or something was embedded in his body. I don't remember exactly what it was anymore. And then the other 3 were like, they're still chilling in what's left of the cab.
Right.
And they're just roasting.
Yeah.
And we had to they wanted us to glove up and like help remove these bodies.
Like we're trying to hose it all down to put out the fires and shit first, or how did?
Well, we let it burn itself out. I mean, we took fire extinguishers and shit, but like it was so fucking hot, like you couldn't even get close with it. All we had was like a red fire extinguisher. We didn't have like any big shit.
It was like a water truck or something.
Yeah, like, we didn't have anything like that. Like our vehicle that had water, we had to drink.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, city power, we only had that like maybe 10% of the day if we were lucky.
Right.
We definitely didn't really have shit for plumbing. Right. You know what I mean? Like not potable, not that you could drink. Like I could shower with it, but like you don't want to open your fucking mouth in there, and it's like a trickle.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't really, there's nothing we could do. All we could do was take all the fire extinguishers, because every Humvee has one. Period, because of IEDs and shit like that. Yeah. You gotta have that shit.
The fucking Jeep has one.
And we're trying to fucking, we're trying to fucking pull these guys out. We also had like burn blankets. It's basically like an orange, big orange can, and there's these blankets inside that are wrapped in like petroleum jelly.
Yeah.
You know, like Vaseline, and it's in case one of your guys gets like flash burns from IEDs, you wrap them up.
Yeah.
Like by the time we got there, I mean, we got out there within just a couple of minutes. We're already on QRF. Yeah. We just had to wait for the guys to run outside and throw their gear on. Like our truck is staged. Like we're set.
Right.
We're combat postured anyway. We just got to wait for 3 more trucks to get completely ready. We're already on QRF, so everybody's in their uniform. Like you're on standby. We go out and like they actually had us help like pull these bodies out, and it was mostly privates that they're like, hey, private, you're doing this. Nobody wants that job.
No, fuck no.
And like they gave us these fucking like blue gloves, you know, like the nitrile fucking like nurse glove kind of things. And I'm like, dude, you need to like give me something better. Like I'm not grabbing this with my regular gloves. Like these things don't go up high enough. And like I just remember when we grabbed the first guy, the one that was closest to the passenger door, is fucking all his skin and meat just it's horrible. And the thing is, man, the smell, it was fucked up, dude, because it smelled like oil. Like, you ever smelled like burning tires? You ever been around like hillbillies that throw tires in the fire? I mean, that was predominantly
burning rubber and stuff.
Yeah, that's predominantly what it smelled like a short, you know, burning electrical shits and tires. But you could also smell the people.
Yeah,
like it was like a barbecue, man.
Does people smell different than barbecue?
I mean, you know, what kind of barbecue are we talking about?
Like the barbecue.
Well, like people say it. People say,
on fire?
Yeah, people say like people taste like pork and shit. But like you could clearly tell. You could tell there's like it's not just a car on fire. Like you could smell the roasting meat. And like I said, I smelled that shit before with the guy. You know, the interpreter. They had the fireproof box and shit. That's the first time I ever smelled like burning people. Luckily, the smell of the vehicle was so overpowering. You couldn't.
You're right.
But it's like, whoa, man. Like,
yeah.
I remember hearing like Nam movies where they're talking about like people smell like and taste like pork and shit, and like that's like in my head, and I'm like grabbing this guy and his arms falling off and shit.
It's fucked up because it sounds like a perfectly cooked chicken, like it just came right off the bone.
That's fucking disgusting. I'm like right then, I'm like, I'm not fucking. We're not touching this shit anymore. Like, fuck that. These fucking idiots didn't want to use the up armored vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, they're driving around in a goddamn pickup truck. Like, this is fucking Mad Max.
Going out without any pre-investigation.
You tell them they clean this shit up. Like, I'm not in a fucking hazmat suit to be cleaning this shit up. Let them clean up their own goddamn guys like we fucking do when it happens to us. Tell them to start using their fucking gear and tell them to get on the fucking ball and find out who is doing this shit so we can help them stop them.
Motherfuckers are dying. Quit it.
Bro, we caught the guy. And I'm not going to say we as in my platoon because I don't remember which platoon caught the guy. We turned him straight over to the Iraqi sergeant major because what we do, we turn every prisoner over to them. They would take them to the to the prison or wherever it was. You remember I told you we had the TB guy, the guy that was like puking blood up and shit because he had TB so bad.
I vaguely
we had to hold that motherfucker on detainment for like it was like 2 weeks when we did Operation Hershey and shit. I'm sitting in front of the door to the room where we got this guy. All it is cots. He's got the blindfold on and his, the man dress they wear. Yeah. And this dude would just like hack so hard he would literally puke fucking blood. And I'm right downwind. All we have is fans to keep us cool. And this TV fucking shit's just blowing in my face. Because you got guard duty. Well, I can't not watch the guy.
Yeah. What a fucking dirty job.
The only way you could see into the room was through the door.
Yeah.
But anyway, we turned the guy over. And I think this will be the last story I tell you for tonight. But we turned him over to the Iraqi sergeant major. And this dude, man, little guy, only comes like right here. And he always had 2 guards with him. These dudes would wear like FLCs, pistol belt kind of deals, and they had MP5s. I kid you not, dude. Like MP5s. No shit. And they would wear flip-flops, T-shirts, like, military style hats, but they're wearing like T-shirts and flip-flops. Then the fucking, I think it was their first sergeant. I want to say it was their Iraqi army first sergeant. This motherfucker, we just turn him over to this guy and he's like, they just walk the guy out. And we watched him walk out the gate. We're like, okay. And you just hear it. They came back alone. I don't know where they dumped his body, but it was somewhere close. Somewhere, the apartments right there, that area. Somewhere between the base and those apartments.
Yeah.
That checkpoint area. They fucking killed him right there, just outside the gate. I don't know if they had people waiting. They called somebody. I don't know if they threw him in one of the ditches because there's, like I said, there's so much shit dug out everywhere, dude. No matter where you looked in Iraq, like even if I were to pull up Google Earth footage now, that's how it looks. Yeah. They dumped him somewhere, dude. They didn't even turn that guy over. They straight up executed him, period. Oh. Because they know that guy for sure. Like I said, when we would catch somebody, if I'm telling you we caught a guy for doing something, we caught him so fucking dead to rights.
Right.
Dude, we probably arrested just my battery. I'm not even talking my battalion or my brigade. Just my battery alone. Probably 150 people.
Yeah.
And more than 90% of them were not from Iraq. They were from every other country around that area, dude.
Just coming in for the war.
Know, people always talk about like the Chechens and shit. That shit was no joke, dude. Those motherfuckers were scary. Like a lot of the times when you'd have a sniper that's active in the area, it's somebody that was highly trained. We're not just talking like the regular, like just a guy taking pot shots. If it's a true sniper, like those motherfuckers were scary, dude.
Right.
And I'll tell you about the Baghdad one next time.
Cool.
Like that shit, that guy took a fucking shot, and I'll even have you look up the WikiLeaks on it and everything, dude. It's got the full like military intel write-up on what they think about this guy and everything. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Like that guy was a fucking monster. He took $1 million shot and scored a fucking shot to the face.
Yeah.
Like as the wind died, you know, medevac status red. Second the wind died. Second the platoon sergeant turns, like a perfect shot right to the fucking face, man. It was insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway,
nice.
they started being a lot cooler after that. Like we told them we'd get the guy, we got the guy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they killed that motherfucker. Period.
Well, hey, at least they were taking the responsibility. I mean, you know, I know that's kind of judge, jury, executioner, but at least they're fucking.
I mean, at
getting
that
in
point,
there and being upset about it. And
if you look at what's been happening, like even before ISIS came in, they released a lot of prisoners. Now I get it. If a guy was like the people I told you about in the beginning, where he was just paid to go dig up some shit, and he's still doing prison time, I would feel horrible.
Yeah.
Because I really think we go back to the whole Sunni and Shia thing. If your judge is a Sunni, you know, and you're a Shia, or I'm not saying that's always the case, but it could just be you were sentenced based on something like that, or because they know you're from a different tribe, or God forbid you're Kurdish. Like, you know, it's just, it's, but if this is a guy who clearly we fucking caught the guy, like the dude we caught that hit my truck.
Yeah.
Like that dude was caught so fucking dead to rights. Like 5 pictures and an X-spray test where we spray their hands. That should have been all it took to say, dude, this, like, look, it's his home. Here is a photo of his home. Here is his hidey hole outside. Here is all the wires. And, oh, here's a couple of reports where 2 people died because of him. Like, that guy should still be in jail, or he should have been executed, period. Because if you let these guys go, they're going to be heroes now.
Yeah.
They did their time. They didn't snitch. Now they get a higher place.
Yeah,
fuck
for
that.
sure. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Let's not get too into the politics of solving.
Well, no, I'm just saying, you know, that's what it is. So.
Revolving door, you know.
Did I feel bad when they did that? Fuck no. I thought it was awesome. I know that's the wrong answer, but you know what? I saw them doing what any of us would want to do.
Yeah.
If me and you are out there, and we're fucking like best friends, dude. We've been serving, you know, we're 11 months into a 15-month deployment, and I get blown up. You're gonna want some fucking justice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thing is, we got Geneva Convention. Thing is, we abided by the Geneva Convention.
It's amazing.
We relinquished our prisoner. We filled out all the proper paperwork.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what they were gonna do. We can't prove what they did. There's always gunshots. So, you know.
Yeah.
How do I know that's what they did? I don't. I never saw the body. I just know they walked outside. The dude, the first sergeant, his 2 bodyguards. Now, this is not American, by the way. These are Iraqis.
Right.
They came back alone.
Yeah.
They killed that motherfucker for sure.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right, man. That it?
For now. What time is it?
Awesome. It is about 2:30. That's it. Cool. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
All right.